Press start.
Can do that.
That's 10 out of 10 then, bro. That's 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's something. There's some
It's
numbers.
good,
involved.
but can I punch a tank?
Do you guys
A literal
remember?
tank.
Do you remember that Hulk Ultimate Destruction game where you could like break the gun
Yes.
off of the tank
Use
and
them
then
as,
like
like, gauntlets.
use it as a
Yeah.
Oh, that
bat.
game was so fun, man. For
So
that
fun.
time, I worked at
Yeah.
Blockbuster and I played the crap out of that.
the way you could
Yeah,
like run on buildings and just jump super far and like what a
The
fun
that's the prototype devs, I'm pretty sure.
It is. It is.
Yeah. He wore them as gauntlets too, right? Didn't he like
He
smash
did,
them up?
yeah.
with
Well,
the-
you could do it with
yeah,
a car and
Cars
you,
on
like-
his hands.
yeah. Oh yeah. That's what it was. Yeah.
ridiculous and so fun.
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
I want a new Hulk game like that, just like modern day technology and combat system. Like I want a Hulk game, you know?
This, I remember the Hulk in, I think it was Ultimate Spider-Man, which is like the cell-shaded open world game. Very good game.
That is a good game. I played that one.
very
Yeah.
good game, and like Wolverine shows up and the Hulk's there. Like the Hulk fight in that is very good. You know,
Dude, I
that
vaguely
game is
remember the
awesome,
Hulk in
dude.
that game, but I just remember loving that game. I remember liking that one and liking the Time one, Shadows of Time or something like that.
Shattered
yeah.
Time or
Shattered
something.
Time?
Shattered Dimensions? Shattered Dimension.
Yeah, that was a good game.
It was a
It
time
just-
travel one where you get to be Spider-Man, Noir Spider-Man. a
2042
little bit.
Noir. Yeah,
That was
it was
cool.
It was Into the Spider-Verse before Into the Spider-Verse. You know,
Mhm.
it was very much kind of a similar concept.
I mean, if I were to play it now, I'd probably be like, oh, this doesn't control like Spider-Man should because of Insomniac
Sure.
Spider-Man. But I just remember really enjoying that game, regardless of how.
Same thing with Ultimate Spider-Man. I have a feeling if we all went back and played that, we'd be like, "This
we'd
is
be like,
garbage."
Yeah.
Where's Insomniac when you need him? Anyway,
right.
all right.
Making
Well,
the
hey,
second-
let's start episode 138. Although I didn't label it that way in the notes, I am so sorry, everybody. I put 137 like an idiot,
Whoops.
like an idiot. All right, but this is
I don't know
138.
what's going on anymore now, so
And
might as
that's
well just
fine.
Cancel.
We've got too many games to play for you to worry about what's happening, Kyle. Just play the games and forget everything else.
Alright.
Because there are so many games out right now. A lot of fun stuff to talk about, and we'll get to all those. There's also some headlines. And then at the end, we'll talk about maybe some things we're watching. There was a big movie that released, Black Adam, and then anything else, any other shows or movies that you wanna highlight as well. But I want to start off with headlines to get through those, and then we can spend all the time we want on games we're currently playing just because there's so much new stuff, good stuff out. I'm going to kind of get through the headlines we care about and get to the games we're playing. Is that cool? Can we start with that?
Yeah.
All right. Because I want to kick things off with the Final Fantasy XVI trailer, which I finally watched today. And I love to give Dan crap about Final Fantasy stuff because it's like the news
thinks
about
so.
the news about the news is just like, it makes me roll my eyes. But I have to be honest, when I finally turn on the trailer, pop in both headphones and just watch it, I'm like, this looks so friggin' awesome.
To
Like
be fair, isn't that like every video game though?
you're right. You're right. But this one just gets
I
a big
like that
achievement.
Dan is the Final Fantasy guy, so he gets all the flack, and I can just low under the radar love it without being made fun of. It's really nice.
To
Yeah.
be fair, Kyle, I think I'm right there. I think Derek's right there with you too. I think all of
Yeah.
us love the Final Fantasy franchise. I've played pretty much all except for 13, and I never finished 12. Otherwise, I've played and finished most of the rest of them. So I love this franchise. It's just something about the rumors about news about an announcement that might happen before the release date window,
See,
whatever. Like that's
You said
fun.
that you even made like a thing on that episode, and I was like, Tim, you son of a b, you son of a b. There was no rumors about anything. He was just confirming. Yoshida was confirming that they're releasing the trailer.
Yeah,
so
most of that's
fake
actually
news,
just-
Tim.
Yeah,
Fake
come
news.
on, bro.
Fake
Don't
news,
act like
Tim.
you don't put those notes in there like regularly going, there might be a trailer. I don't know. You do it all the time.
Well, not
Come on,
regularly.
dude.
It's
As a
happened every
casual
once.
follower of
Quasi-
this
Quarry.
news,
Hey,
they did
regardless,
say a trailer was coming out in October, and here
and
we
the
are.
trailer
They
is
did.
out.
They did.
And I loved it, but I just want to throw it to Dan and tell us what you thought about it, and anyone else if you want to chime in on what you thought about it. But I just wanted to throw it
You
out there
have
first.
5 minutes.
It's a really good trailer.
50 minutes?
and It sets like I have
5 minutes
no
is
idea what's
4 minutes
happening.
and 30 seconds too long.
I have no idea what's happening. I have no idea who everyone
Yes.
is, but I'm glad. I kind of
I have
like,
no idea who anyone is.
no idea. But I don't
No.
really want to know the story yet because the game comes
Sure.
out at the earliest 9 months from now. At the very very earliest,
Yeah,
we'll see it in 9 months.
It's got a
Do you
summer
wanna ask me, or do you wanna
2023
just skip
window.
that segment?
So I don't want to learn anything about the story or characters yet. Wait till the game comes out when I can actually engage with it, because I'll forget anything they try to teach me now. I'm glad it looks really good.
I'm
Love the
curious
setting.
if they'll do what they did with 15 and like release a movie or
something.
They said
along
no.
the side.
They
have
already
no.
said no. I thought he specifically already said no to that. He's like, I'm
I
not
want-
doing cross media.
I want none of that shit. None of that shit.
All right. So
I enjoyed the movie though.
No,
I love
too.
the movie.
Me
I
too.
thought the anime was a lot of fun.
I did too, but then like in retrospect, all of that segregating or separating all of that content, like through the anime, there was the movie, there was the game, then there was the DLC, like there was a book.
The story of the game.
It fractured everything too much.
I think so too. Yeah, even though I think it was a good idea, the execution was just not there.
I will not argue with you on that. Actually, what they should probably do going forward is release the game, and then if they want to release the movie
Love
after
that
the
idea.
game.
Please and thank you. Yeah.
Just have like add-on content, nothing that's like, oh my god, that should have been a sequel of the game.
well, what'd you think, Dan, about the trailer? I know they showed a lot of new stuff.
It's a beefy trailer, 4.5
beefy.
minutes, as
Yeah.
Derek just mentioned a second ago. Honestly, so I haven't really had a chance to like kind of dissect it or anything,
Oh,
and
thank
I,
God. Oh,
and
thank
I honestly don't even really want to. But we can dissect it right now for Jeff because he's
Yeah,
excited, clearly.
let's
I'm
share
ready,
the
dude.
screen
Let's
and
do
let's
it.
dive
There's
in.
so
nothing to
excited.
dissect. It's a new story, new characters. We don't know anything. Okay, let's
Jeff,
chill.
Jeff,
Let's
Jeff,
chill.
Jeff, quiet down. Eat whatever, microwave whatever.
There's always stuff to dissect. They say names and
There's so much said in this, and I'm like, what? Who?
Yeah,
Just-
yeah.
Go stick
Wow,
your head
it's
in
all
the
new.
microwave, Jeff. Hey, give me 5 minutes. Go stick your.
Burrito
What do you got
bowl.
there? What do you got there? Burrito bowl, very nice. You
I'm
eat
gonna
that,
dissect this after
Okay.
finish talking.
and then when it comes out, is that also dissected? Or?
Anyway, continue.
Give us your damn impressions.
No, it seems like there's just like an unbelievable amount of stuff happening in this game, in this world, and it just seems very interesting. There's a lot of characters. I like that the world is like essentially it's dying and like the crystals are draining, and there's these different kingdoms that have like, I guess like I've said before, these trump cards of these icons, these people that can turn into like the summons and kind of utilize that in sort of like these like war sort of situations. But again, the world is also dying. So it's like, leave it to humans to be like, well, our world is dying, but let's also just go to war with one another. So that's cool. Yeah, it's just it feels very Game of Thronesy, very like Lord of the Rings, like
That's
high
what I like.
fantasy. Yeah.
I got like the different families and factions and
Kingdoms,
and
empires.
fiefs or kingdoms, empires,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
word you want to use. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And everything everyone's saying feels like super important. The way they deliver everything, it's just like, this is so
very
grand.
melodramatic. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna
very
guess that they learned from Final Fantasy 15. So I know, not everybody loved Final Fantasy
I hope
15.
so.
I love the gameplay in the open world, so
Me
it's
too.
my favorite. But I can't
like the
admit
story,
the
too.
story was
I liked
decent, but lacking like
Cohesiveness.
Yeah.
That's the
Dude,
thing.
that's exactly what it was lacking. It didn't have good cohesion. That's very true. That's fair.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I would argue the open world was a little annoying too and repetitive.
Yeah.
But
At times it
I
was.
really
That's
enjoyed
different
it.
strokes.
But, yeah, different
I
strokes.
enjoyed it because I enjoyed like the monster hunts. Like I got all into it. Like
Yeah.
that
Same
platinum
here.
it,
There's a
'cause
lot
I
of really
was-
cool landmarks to see and the
It was
photo
a
opportunities and stuff like that.
cool experiment for
Not
them,
like take like actual
Yeah.
in-game photos. Not
It was
like
I just
definitely
think
new.
it was
It was new
their
for Final
first take on open world / story driven
Yeah.
JRPG. So what I was trying to say is I'm hoping they learned from that with Final Fantasy 16. Well, I know they did because they already said this is not open world. It's just like
No,
open area.
open area,
Open
but they're going to be
area.
large areas.
I
So.
felt like Dragon Age 2 or Dragon Age Inquisition.
Inquisition, yeah, like that style, exactly that style, but definitely like bigger for sure.
So
but
that'll
yeah,
be good. But
I just-
hopefully it'll keep the story cohesive.
right.
So, and this is maybe just a time for Tim to learn what words mean here for a second, but I've always felt most Final Fantasy, the moderns, are like, those have a lot of melodramatic delivery where it doesn't feel like a dire thing, but the line's being delivered like it is all the time. And I felt like this just feels super dramatic. Help me out here. Like, what's the difference there? Like, what melodramatic feels like a diss, and I almost called it that earlier. And
It
when
is.
you said it, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Is it a diss?
That's
I don't
like,
know.
yeah. I mean, I
I
think
don't
it
know.
is.
Yeah, you see, so people use melodramatic with anime a lot,
truly
right?
asking because I don't know, not
Yeah.
correcting or anything.
Yeah,
I just-
I just thought it meant like exacerbated drama, like people
Right,
overacting drama. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
not
yeah.
like in a-
Which
I
I
don't think I've
think is
used
sorry.
it in
I
a
think-
negative way usually.
Exactly. Which again, that term I think it's thrown out a lot with anime, Kyle. Right? Like people, because
Yeah.
especially subbed. Well, I was gonna say subbed actually, because the Japanese voice actors really like push like the emphasis of like the
Which is why I think
dramatism
the dub
of it.
tries to capture that also. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And then overreaches or extends.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, exactly. And it's just
Yeah.
not quite delivered exactly the same way. But I don't know.
Well,
I
in
just
case you guys are interested, according to Merriam-Webster,
what is
it
Mary?
is.
Who that?
Where did it go? Where did it go? So appealing to the emotions is one, which is like, okay, so
Yeah.
that would be accurate. But there
Yeah.
was one. Oops, hang on. There's one definition that said exaggeratedly emotional or sentimental, and that's kind of what I have always thought.
Yeah, that's how I interpreted that word.
So
Hmm.
anyway, not to get sidetracked, but I had a moment there because I heard someone else say it in a different conversation, and I was like, oh, maybe I don't know.
So
if
it
that
has
was
two
dramatic.
definitions because you just said two definitions.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it literally does. Like it can
Okay.
be used both ways.
That's called synonyms, dude.
Isn't that, so
I mean,
anyway,
I think just going off of this trailer and
No.
some of these details they've already actually thrown out there. But like I said, the world is literally dying. They mentioned, darkness and twilight and stuff like that. And these kingdoms, again, there's going to be like wars going on and all this like kind of grand fighting going on. Like there's a lot of dark and bleak stuff happening in this world, clearly. So yeah, people are going to
see like blood like splatter on
Oh,
the kid
yeah.
in the
Oh,
trailer.
absolutely.
I'm like, oh, here we go. This is rock and roll right here.
Which by the way confirmed Joshua, that kid, we knew he was going to be an icon, but you see like that, so in case people don't want to be spoiled, you see what's coming out of him, so you're like, oh, so he's that one for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting because then that one is fighting the other summon in the early
I love the idea of
trailers.
people being imbued with the power of the Aeons or the summons or the icons or whatever you call them in this game. So I think that's super cool.
I think too, Kyle, and I don't know if I was interpreting it incorrectly, but there's a moment where it shows almost like they kind of like turn into stone or something. They're talking about like, oh, how they use us or something, and there's like a figure laying on a bed. So I'm wondering if it's like they imbue them with this power, and then as they use the power more and more, it's like kind of essentially killing them, and then they turn
That'd
into.
be interesting. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
that
I
gives
also
some weight to using that power, right?
right and
Yeah.
some in universe, like cost, for using that power. Look like there's a lot of duels. Looks like you're going face to face with a lot of other people who are icons, and it's just like one-on-one duels.
Yeah.
It looked like there were moments where the game looked like a fighter, like a big
Yeah.
HP on this side, a big HP on the other
Mhm.
side of the screen, so like I'm really interested to see how all that plays out, and just I just thought there was a lot to like take from this trailer, and it just got me really excited, whereas the last couple trailers have just been kind of like character, like it didn't, even though we didn't get a lot of like combat in this still, so like it's still kind of nebulous of what exactly the combat's going to be like. I just have a better idea of maybe what we're going to be doing through the context of what it's showing the world being like.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
a lot of betrayal, a lot of again, people screaming at each other in a dramatic or melodramatic way,
Staring each other down in front of a burning house or
Sure.
something.
absolutely, a lot of that, a lot of blood splattering and people going, he's the true heir or whatever. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm here for all that stuff, man. It feels fantasy again. So
It does. And I know I've said this before, and it's like, again, it's really just going off of, I guess, the pedigree of 14. But Yoshida and his team obviously do good work. Final Fantasy XIV did technically literally save the company when they rebooted it as 2.0. So obviously their team.
the same game that almost tanked the company saved it. So
Right. Exactly. So yeah, I don't want to say like I'm confident. Obviously, things could flop and something happens, but I think for me so far, it looks like it's very good quality. I like the kind of what's going on in there from what I'm seeing, and I'm obviously excited. So hopefully that date sticks in the summer.
well, when it comes out in November, because that's when it's coming out.
Dude, I'm with
we
you.
will all,
2024.
we will all enjoy it. We will all enjoy it very much.
That's
so.
not
March
summer.
2024.
That's not summer, Kyle.
Don't you put that out there,
Sorry,
Kyle. That's
y'all
on you,
breaking up.
man.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
They
I
did have
wanna-
one
I do
moment
wanna
where they
give the,
showed the character jumping over an attack, a big swooping attack, and then kind of dodging midair. At least I thought I saw that in
The Devil May Cry battle director from Capcom left Capcom and went to help with this game. Like he works at Square now, so that's why this
It
game.
looked like
this game's gonna be
gameplay.
very action, like
Yeah.
RPG, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Jeff. I thought you were gonna say
My
something.
very genuine take on it, because I like to give Dan crap. It's so fun.
Oh no.
But my genuine take is this does look, as you're saying, super ambitious story-wise. Like the scope of this story feels so massive. And I'm very undereducated on the franchise, but I've looked up enough about previous games to know that the scope hasn't really been that big before. Like it just seems like it's going to be huge, even though the open world won't be there. I feel like the story's going to make up for whatever people might miss from that. So
Yeah.
Huge in different ways, like world-ending ways, like with Final Fantasy VII, for example, world-ending thing towards the end of the game. This just feels very like huge in the sense of like again all these kingdoms and
all
like
the players involved.
Just I feel like there's a lot. They're trying to get you used to that. There's going to be a huge cast in this game.
Yeah,
and they're going to be dying, and they're going to be introduced to new ones, and like it feels very character-driven. This game does. What they were trying to do with the last game with the 4 main characters, like we're trying to make it about these boys. This feels bigger. Like it's like where there's gonna be so many ancillary and side and characters that kind of push everything forward. So that's just kind of the feeling I got from the trailer.
Yep, agreed.
Keep a notepad of all the names, everybody.
That's right.
Yeah, for real.
Right?
Great trailer though. Great showing.
Really good trailer. Yep. All right, well, let's start with some sad news outside of that, of course. That's Microsoft laying off around 1,000 employees, including people from the Xbox division. Yeah, that's a bummer. That's a major bummer.
Yeah,
that's a lot of people. Now, I don't know what their employee count is. Like, in some companies that's going to be half your staff, and some companies that's 1%. So it's like, I don't know what that staff count is. I imagine it's huge, but that's still a chunk.
I thought I saw a percentage in the article, but I can't remember now. My bad for not jotting it down. But
no, it's fine.
Microsoft's
was there any reason listed?
Yeah, Microsoft gave a generic restructuring statement. That's all they said.
Restructure.
Oh, we had to restructure based on needs, stuff like that.
But guys, I thought Game Pass is making them so much money.
It is making them so much money that they don't need employees anymore.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That logic tracks somehow. I don't know how you.
Yeah. I actually followed that all the way.
Tracks somehow. I don't know.
Well, they didn't ask.
Automated.
No one asked the public's opinion on whether they should fire 1,000 people, but they did ask the public's opinion on the Microsoft Activision deal. They're like, hey, what do you guys think about it? This is what the UK regulator has decided. Let's just open up to the public. What do you guys all think? Let's put a poll out on Twitter.
I did not know
just
this. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You guys,
That's your
what are
job.
the
Why don't you
laws?
do
Follow
your
that.
job?
What are the rules?
Derek, that's exactly it. Do your job. Like, don't ask us to do your job.
Yeah.
You're just asking like console fanboys to get in there and flame war each other. You're gonna get very few genuine responses.
A match that you just lit, everybody.
Exactly.
Like, that's crazy.
Exactly.
The only genuine responses you'll get are people who probably are already doing the job you're doing. Like they're already on your team.
I hear about this story more. Ugh, dang it.
I would hope that they.
No, not you, Tim. The world.
Yeah.
I would hope that they vet who they're going to ask. Like, hopefully they ask people in the industry or something. People that are
asking. Or just like there are people who are actual industry analysts, like ask them and how is this going to affect the industry? Use your weird algorithm math and maybe ask those people. But to ask every John, Joe, and Jane like online, like, hey, what do you think we should do? That Tim's absolutely right. You're starting some kind of
Kyle,
flame
they're
war.
British. They're hello.
Oh, excuse me. I need to drink a little something.
I'm sorry.
Tell me what you think of this deal. Hello.
Are you feeling thirsty?
I was watching football with my sons this afternoon, and I said something in a dumb British accent, and they all started saying "bottle or what."
It's a plague.
It's a plague.
Speaking of plagues, eventually.
It's everywhere. Well, hang on to that transition for later. That was good.
So I remember 20 minutes ago we mentioned plagues.
Remember back then?
Tim, edit the episode so you throw that into that section.
We'll work it in.
Yeah, you should totally edit it.
I don't have that kind of. I don't have 40 minutes.
It's so sincere. Yeah, do that.
Insomniac says Spider-Man 2 is still on track for next year, so I think that's got a great like September through November window that I would love to see for that game.
I would guess November.
Me too. That's a fall holiday release.
I just mean the first one came out in September, if you remember, in 2018. So I don't know if that means anything to them. To like, that's a good.
I know, but I feel like its popularity is making it its God of War level of hype
for
that
sure.
You would release in early November for the holidays.
That's true. They were kind of untested in this realm with the first one, so September made a little more sense then. And then, being the holiday PlayStation game also makes a ton of sense this time around. Yep.
Yeah, they the fact that it came from Insomniac themselves and they were like, no, we're making serious progress on this game made me go, oh, well, then we're totally getting it. Like,
it's kind of like when everyone was like, Sonic Frontiers isn't coming out anytime soon, but then the Sega developers were like, no, we're gonna release it this year. Like, sorry,
it's just gonna be empty AF.
So there's something, regardless of how good that game is, when you hear directly from the people making the game, like we're on track for this goal, that gives you a lot of confidence.
Absolutely. I have to say, not to get sidetracked, but when they finally released like a gameplay trailer, that was what I was trying to pay attention. I'm like, is this like Mario Odyssey, just in an open world, like something fun like that?
Yeah.
It had some of that, so I was like, it piqued my
Mhm.
interest. So I'm waiting to see. That's a game I'll wait and hear what like actual reviewers say.
Which one?
Same.
Sonic.
Sonic Frontier.
Sonic Frontiers.
Oh, Sonic. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
agree
because I
with
get
you
the
on that.
same thing. It could potentially be a Super Mario Odyssey situation, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
But Mario is like, has a
yeah,
history of
that
being
that game
more high
looked
quality.
charming from the beginning, whereas Sonic Frontiers is making me go, so I don't. We'll see.
The one silver lining is that
if anyone was gonna pull out like a big surprise like underdog story, like that's the game though, because it
Yeah,
like
for sure.
it's got enough people who are like there's something here, and enough people who are like I don't know, dude,
I don't know about
and
that. Dude.
I don't know about that, dude. And it feels like. It feels like a teeter-totter to me, like it like
agree.
even if it hits like at a 7 or even maybe a 6.5, I think it'll
Yeah.
still be considered a win for a lot of
yeah,
people.
when expectations are this low,
Some
then the
concepts.
ability to deliver is, I think it's higher. You have a higher ability to deliver something that people are happy with.
Hey,
Yeah.
and that's another good transition into something else later on we'll discuss. Dang
Gotham
it!
Knights.
Stop
Gotham
spending your
Knights.
transition and Black Adam.
I'm
Hey,
so
could
sorry.
you edit that? Could you
Yeah,
edit
Tim's
that
gonna
one too?
Tim's gonna have to edit so much this
I'm not
episode.
not gonna edit any of that.
If
but
anything,
hey,
he'll do Fight Club editing and just put wieners in it.
great. That sounds like me. The
It does
Splinter-
actually.
The Splinter Cell remake director has left Ubisoft, so that's going well.
Yeah, it's going
Yeah.
really.
That's going really well.
Yeah.
There's not much more to say about that. Outside of, there's no news on the game outside of that the director left. If you read the official statements, it's like, hey, I left to focus on other things, new adventures, blah blah blah. I don't know. Who knows what else is going to come out?
Yeah,
from
that remake. There's no way it's coming then. I'm sorry. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake.
I know Michael Ironside's
Trajectory
definitely
here.
going to be dead by the time VA needs to be done. So
You're not wrong about that. I won't
Yeah.
care if they don't finish the Sands of Time remake. I just want a different Prince of Persia game. They don't need to remake the old one.
yeah, you should.
But
You
I-
should just dump that one at this
I
point.
would love a Splinter Cell remake. 'Cause I love the original. I'd love that, or just a new Splinter Cell.
And
game.
they said they were gonna like modernize it, so I was really interested in that part.
So
Like,
was
what is
I.
that gonna
Yeah.
look like?
Yeah.
Kind of what they kind of just did with Modern Warfare, which we'll get to later in the show. It's just
All
like,
these
oh, this is a very
Man.
similar story, but it's just like
Yeah.
told 10 or 15 years later. Same character. It's very interesting. So I
Yeah.
kind of like this like fad that's going on right now.
I agree.
Sure, me too.
Well, there were some. Oh, in Cyberpunk Edgerunners, season 2 is not currently happening at the moment. That doesn't mean it's never going
Sure.
to happen, but that's not in the works. It's
Yeah,
not
they
kind of-
never apparently they never planned for it. They were just like,
Yeah.
oh, it's its own self-contained thing.
Yeah.
Which I admire that, but also, come on, dude, that was really
Yeah, I think they are expanding themselves out in multiple directions, prodding,
Yeah.
if you will. So I know there's going to be a graphic novel coming out. They did the anime. They're, they probably got other multimedia type of things in the
Right.
fire as well. So it's like I bet you they start circling back to the things that hit. Because right now they're really interested in expanding this property out, because
For
when
sure.
that sequel comes out in 30 years, like they're gonna really want
when we're all
everyone
dead,
to have some content to keep them invested in the world. So
Anime does take a while to make, so
it does, especially that studio.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're
with the amount of
particularly-
detail.
Yeah, they're particularly
Yeah.
very, very, very take a while on their projects, which is great. That's why they're all so good. So
Yes.
Well, don't forget that Quantic Dream is working on a Star Wars game, Star Wars Eclipse, and some more details to come out about it. I kind of don't want to dive into the actual details themselves because the game is so far away. It's still very early in development, they even said.
Mhm.
But I do think the headline that I saw on Video Games Chronicle made me laugh. It was basically Star Wars Eclipse is going to introduce a new race. And I was like,
Oh,
new race? Huh?
A
It's,
new
obviously,
race?
it's an alien race, but I just
yes.
thought that
I know the way I read that too was like
huh?
purple. I don't know what they mean by that.
like a pod race,
Some kind of
Or-
half-blood? Like, do I
This is pod racing.
like a pod, or like a different type of racing.
This is pod racing. But
This
yeah,
is
if you're
pod-
interested in learning more about that game, of course, that's great. There's some details out there with characters and the background,
Yeah.
that stuff. But yeah, I am looking forward to whenever that game does come out. It's just so far away.
It is.
Just, I mean, I just said I don't want to know too much about Final Fantasy 16 because it comes out 9 months from now. This game's got to be a couple years from now. I don't want to learn details about
Right, a
it.
couple years
At
is very
least, yeah.
generous.
At least,
I think it's a
yeah.
very generous guess.
Yeah, I agree. Resident Evil had a showcase where they showed some Resident Evil 4 remake. I watched a little bit of this.
Finally.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I watched.
I'm
this
excited
was
for
great.
this.
Yeah.
What'd you
It
guys
looked
think about how
awesome.
that looks?
Yeah.
Dude, Dude, catching the chainsaw with his pistol, like, come on, like,
yeah. This game's gonna be super awesome, man.
I think it was
like
VGC that said in one of their articles they had hands-on time, and they were like, "This is way more faithful of a remake than like any other remake they've done."
Oh, really?
Like, apparently it's
well,
like,
and
even
two.
more,
Remember,
even
like two's
more
the one that
so.
two's the one that broke the mold. So the fact that they're about to like one up themselves, go Super Saiyan, if you will, like they're. That's pretty interesting for them.
But it sounds like the gameplay's
this is their baby, though.
It is absolutely, Derek.
This is franchise. This is their baby.
This is the one that they've released so many times. And 2, I would call their baby too, but 4 way more so. Absolutely way more.
Well, 4 like it reinvented the series.
It reinvented the genre.
Or because of the perspective. So, changing. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. It is an absolutely groundbreaking game in much of the ways that like Mario 64 and Legend of Zelda reinvented that third-person camera or whatever. Like this did the same exact thing, and really excited for this game to come out. I know people online are mad about the dog, right? Have y'all seen this?
I haven't seen that.
That's not the same dog. That's not the same dog.
There's a dog that you can save like in 4, and in this game when you come up on it, it's dead. And I think Dan is right. They're just maybe changing some stuff around or whatever. But like people were
clearly not that faithful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right. 2 out of 10. Yeah.
But I like so before it shows that scene. Before it shows that scene where he catches the chainsaw with the pistol, I don't know if you noticed, the chainsaw guy was like chopping down sort of like whatever that like balcony was or whatever. He was like kind of cutting. That didn't happen in the original, so it seems like it's gonna be more.
A cow on fire.
Yeah, dude.
The cow ran and killed a whole bunch of people. I was like, that's new.
Dude, there's
a lot of environmental stuff going on. Like, what do you call it when it's like kind of just happening on the fly or whatever? It's really cool that they designed it that
contextual,
something like that, where it's like, God, there's a word for procedural. That's what where it's like things are happening just on their own, and they animated every which scenario.
Like Callisto Protocol, right? How they said like when you go into like something and it starts chopping you into bits, it's depending on the angle you go into it, it's all completely different and
it's like the physics of like Last of Us 2 or whatever.
Speaking of Callisto Protocol, real quick, they did say no delays on that game. It's not gold, but they're done.
Suck it, Kyle.
It's gold, but it's done.
Whoa.
No, I'm the one breaking the news to tell you guys there's no suck it.
There's no delays.
I never actually thought that game was going to be delayed. You don't.
I didn't either.
I just like
to be. I have to. That's the only way I can be the heel on this podcast because I don't take you seriously.
You have to be a complete idiot to show that much press, pay that much marketing, and be like, "Well, we're not ready."
Yeah. You'd have to be Final Fantasy 15. You mean?
Well, also
because it's happened many times before. It's looked dumb every time. You're right. So,
but they've hit that. They've put the date so prominently. More so than most other games. It says December 2nd, like everywhere when they talk about Callisto Protocol.
That's gonna be a cozy ass game, right? I mean,
it's so cozy, so Christmas.
Light a fire.
I think it's actually smart. I know it's like a horror game, and so you want October.
I'm excited for it, man.
When you look at this October/November, sliding it in December is a smart move.
Especially for a whole generation who grew up on Nightmare Before Christmas. Like people like spooky stuff during Christmas, so it's like
this is a new IP too. So like new IPs generally should release in months that aren't normally like hot months because that to me is the
they picked a really smart date for this game.
Immortals, Phoenix Rising did that. We talked about Spider-Man earlier. Did that?
Aren't there several games coming out that day though? Isn't Need for Speed coming out?
It did, but like it was the first. It was the first person to secure that date, and then everybody else kind of like piled.
Yeah, they did. Midnight Suns and Need for Speeds picked that date after Callisto.
After Callisto had it set in.
That's another busy day. That's a rare busy release day in December.
The last busy day we get, really.
It is, and I'm buying all 3 of those games. So I hate that.
I'll be buying all 3 of them.
All 3 look great.
Sounds like a lot of us are.
So Resident Evil 4, I just looked this up. It's been released on GameCube, PS2, PC, Wii, iOS, Zeebo, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Android, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Oculus Quest 2.
Holy crap! Dude.
Yeah.
So that game's been released many times on many systems.
Yeah, it never is in the conversation whenever we make fun of other like, they're releasing Skyrim again. I'm like, Resident Evil 4 has come out way more time to
Yeah.
do that. On way many more things. Like, but we make fun of one because it's fun. And then Resident Evil because I don't know, it's just a golden boy. Like it gets the ultimate free pass.
Just a waste of resources unless it's for a different game.
I'm just saying, guys, they could be making Resident Evil 9 right now, but instead they're making Remake 4 or whatever. So
yeah, so
I don't think most gamers care if you re-release a game if you're low price. I think they get angry when it's full price. That's why
I get frustrated with that too.
James Faggerty needs to be called out for his whole.
God damn it!
Now you do have to edit it.
Yeah, now you do have to.
For his Persona take, because I don't mind Persona 5 coming out all the time. I don't. It's fine. Release it as many times as you want. I do have a problem that you keep charging full price, even for people that, like for me, I bought Oil on PS4 after I already bought Persona 5 on PS4.
Right.
And you never let me like upgrade any of them for free. You were just like, no, you got to re-buy it for 60 or 70 bucks.
That's also
that's kind of, and I'm not defending it, but they've been doing that since Persona 3. So when Persona 3 Definitive came out with extra content, full price game. Persona 4 Golden came out, new content, full price game. You know, so
I don't care if they do it. I'm just not gonna buy it.
Yeah, and again, I'm not defending it. I'm just saying they have a history of doing it.
I just think they get away with it because most of the people that are going to buy it are extremely passionate, and it isn't. I understand it's popular, but if you go into like big gaming groups, it's like a niche game still. Like there's a lot of people that like it, but it's not a broad game where.
Well, I would say all JRPGs are pretty niche.
It's a JRPG. It's very anime centric, and really the gameplay loop itself is just not going to appeal to everyone, myself included. Sorry, but it's still good. It's a good game.
You are a fake gamer. Fake gamer.
Doesn't appeal to everyone. Sorry, but
it even appeals to me, and I'm notoriously.
I do not love Joker.
Pretty much racist at this point. So
I didn't say I love Joker.
Hey, I'm glad you admitted it.
I just say I don't love the gameplay loop. I just don't personally. That's fine. It's just like when people say they don't love Mario plus Rabbids, but that's a transition for later in the show.
Damn.
You added
these transitions, man. What's going on?
We're just wasting all of them, man. These are golden ones.
Moving pieces around. Like
I want to talk about some of the. There's other Resident Evil news too, by the way. There's a gold edition for Village that's coming out next week.
Yeah,
it's actually this coming week.
Yeah, and that's a third-person mode demo is like out now for that too. Yeah.
I'll play through that whole game over again just to play third person. That sounds fun.
But did you guys hear though, or read, or see, or whatever? Even if you rotate the camera, you still can't see Ethan's face. He's gonna look away if you try to rotate it.
Yeah,
I didn't see that. That's awesome.
Does his head turn all the way around on his body?
Yeah, but we know what he looks like. I've seen his face.
Why are they? Why are they keeping it?
Because people hacked it. Because people hacked it. That's why. But that's why we've seen it. But I don't know. They're just really insistent on hiding his face. So
that's weird.
I don't know.
Wait, didn't they show his face at the end of Village?
No.
They didn't show his face. Okay.
Nope.
Anyway. All right. So Silent Hill, speaking of some spooky games, Silent Hill finally got some official news. No more rumors, actual news.
Dude. Yeah.
My favorite, so they had 5 things announced because there's a movie, right? So a movie and 4 games. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
So there's a movie, same director as the first film. So that's exciting for folks who really liked that movie. I know that some of you guys liked that movie.
Yeah.
So.
I really, that year, that became like instantly like my favorite video game adaptation.
I think it's still my favorite video game movie, to be honest.
Gotcha.
And there are like 2 Silent Hill movies. I never watched either one.
In my heart, there's one, but on paper, there are 2.
Okay, I thought there was 2. I thought there was a really bad one, and then like,
there's a really bad one starring Jon Snow. I don't want it.
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
Don't bring it up. It's not
really
bad.
It's a really bad movie. But the first one's fun, you know.
Yeah, the first one.
It was.
And they're bringing back a lot of the same monsters, same design and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a Silent Hill 2 rendition movie or take on
pretty much.
And that is a Pyramid Head game. So like, we're gonna get Pyramid Head again, which he was in the first movie as well. It's gonna be, and hopefully it's gonna be fun.
Creepy.
Yeah.
So my favorite dev name team, Bloober, is making Silent Hill 2 remake, which that's the one that comes out, I believe, at the end of March. That's the Silent Hill 2 remake. And if you don't know who they are, Bloober made Layers of Fear. They did Observer, or Observation.
Observer, no.
Observer. Okay.
But
Observation.
The Observation dev did do another Silent Hill game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
That's right.
Dude, Observation is wacky. That is insane.
Yeah, I love that game.
Silent Hill Townfall is the one from the Observation dev, and that's gonna be published by Annapurna. This one sound. If I hear those 2 things, think about what Observation was. A very unique game, very unique
Mhm.
setup where you're kind of an AI set of cameras trying to figure, going from
You're
room to
basically the HAL in the ship from
Yeah.
2001, basically.
You're not
Except you're not losing your mind as much.
right.
I guess.
So it's much different.
Yeah.
It's a different approach, and developed or published by Annapurna, who publishes all kinds of crazy stuff and some some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
This will be interesting. They've been working on this one for 3 years now, and so I'm interested to see what this game actually is. Townfall.
For sure.
Everyone is concerned about Silent Hill 2 though in Bloober.
I don't know. I
is
wouldn't
concerned.
be. They're using Unreal Engine 5 for it and rebuilding the combat.
No, I'm saying they don't like the dev. It seems like a lot of people do not like that dev.
People like Layers of Fear.
I thought they've earned their keep by now, but
Yeah.
maybe it's just the
I guess
game
not.
that people
I
don't
guess
like
not.
the medium or something that's still fresh in their mind. I don't know.
Yeah.
Medium. That's right. Medium.
Medium. Yeah.
That's fair. There's an interactive streaming series coming next year called Silent Hill Ascension. So I think that's kind of like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, that's
Telltale game.
It kind of reminds me of like Netflix, what they did with like Black Mirror and stuff.
Yeah, which
like-
I kind of liked that, by the way. I liked what they did there.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
My favorite title, though, and I'm going to choose to call it this, is Silent Hilf. And that is the next
Silent
full
Milf?
entry.
Silent
No,
Milf,
no,
yeah.
older.
Silent
Silent
Hill.
Hill.
Attractive hill.
My favorite type of milk.
It's Silent Hilf. The silent type.
Damn, Kyle. Damn.
Wow.
Wow.
What's funny about that too is that the F is stylized like forte on sheet music, which means loud. So it's funny. The joke is like layered.
That's clever.
That's really clever.
Yeah, that's clever.
I'm sure we'll find out what that means. It's probably going to mean something stupid like 5. Is this the 5th main game in the series? Have there been 4?
No, because there's been like 8 Silent
There's
Hills.
like 20 home. Yeah, even the ones that don't have numbers like Homecoming and The Room and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like,
All right.
Silent Hill,
maybe
Far
the
From
Red
Home,
Dead 4.
Silent Hill,
Silent
No
Hill
Way
Far From
Home,
Home, Silent
yeah.
Hill Homecoming, Silent
Silent
Oh,
Hill
you did
Attorney
that.
at Law. You guys know
Yeah.
how it goes.
Silent Hill
God.
Infinity Wars. You know.
God damn it, guys.
All right.
Can we end this game, please?
We can. Last thing I wanted to talk about is something that I think is a really interesting story because it's basically we're watching drama unfold in a public arena, and I find it to be fascinating. So Bayonetta,
nom nom.
Bayonetta 3 is about to release, and I'm actually currently playing through Bayonetta 2 and loving it. I know that Derek played 1 and 2 recently. I know Jeff's been playing through 1. So like Bayonetta, of course, is top of mind for us. We're fans of the series.
I am boycotting this game, though.
I know you are.
You know,
I know you are. Derek.
I stand.
You
with
are
women.
very.
You
You
are
know
very
I
firm-
stand with
very
women.
firmly
Yeah.
for women always. So
You
he's
definitely
They
do.
boycotting.
complain.
I don't believe
I
you.
hear them.
You always
Yeah.
say
Always
your
that
motto.
guy, always a shoulder for women.
Your
you know what I
motto
mean?
on this show is strong women run the world because you believe in strong women. You
Derek
totally
went
believe
to
in
the
strong
women's
women.
march and screamed from the side, "I see you!
Yeah.
I see you!"
I hear you. I see.
I'm working on me. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
All right.
Being
Actually, no,
toxic.
he went and was. Never mind. I'll stop. So the Bayonetta voice actor, she posted about how we should boycott this game. She didn't lead with that. She ended with that. But I thought it was interesting because I saw that. That was the first thing I saw when I kind of heard about this was Bayonetta voice actor is not in the game and she wants you to, she doesn't want you to buy it. She wants you to calling for a boycott. And then I read that she was offered an insulting amount of $4,000 to reprise this role and turned it down, that kind of thing. So if you just have that in a box by itself, it's like, well, boycott sounds extreme, but 4,000, like I don't know. That's what's going on. Why do they offer her so little? That's where my mind went right away. Like what is happening there?
Which was her goal, by the way.
Was totally her goal, and it worked.
To mislead everybody.
At least a little
It
bit.
did.
So, but as news has come out more and more, it sounds like, well, that was not exactly true. It actually she was offered a set amount for the number of sessions she was going to be recording, which wasn't going to be that many. Actually, might
It was
even been
yeah.
less than the first.
It was
game.
like because she's union. Not that I think Japanese developers acknowledge unions because they're not under obligation to, but it was something like 5 sessions, a minimum 5 hours, possibly up to 4K per session. So
Right.
that would have totaled like
20,000.
yeah, it would have been a lot. Yeah. So
And I'm not.
For-
that
I'm
would
not
have been
saying-
an actual
for
good
25 hours of work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Get the fuck out of here.
Wait, what happened to all that progressiveness?
He's done.
I hear you.
Derek has left the parade. He's out. He's out now.
He slept the parade.
So we saw that Jennifer Hale is actually the voice actress for
Yeah.
Bayonetta for this
who
game.
is way more expensive than $4,000.
She's a known
Right.
she's a known name in the industry.
She is Commander Shepard.
She's Commander Shepard.
right.
Like she's a known name. She's done tons of games. Many of us recognize her voice when we hear it, similar to someone like a Nolan North. You just kind of hear, is that Jennifer Hale? Like we recognize her. A lot of us do, at least. We recognize her voice. So she's an iconic voice actor who's doing this. So part of me is going, well, they clearly had the budget to pay a voice actor.
Yeah.
Did they offer her more? They might have offered her a little more, maybe a lot more. I don't know. But it's clear that Helena Taylor, the original VA, was not honest in her claim and her accusation towards. So that's where it gets very ugly, where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
now you kind of, it's like when you put up a chart of data, but you leave out the most important data because you don't want it to look wrong. Like you're trying to do some weird thing to present numbers to look good for you.
So politics,
bad.
got it.
Pretty
It's
much.
bad. It looks pretty bad. So
You're
all
cooking
of
the books, right? Cooking the books.
all of it's ugly. All of it's unfolding in a very funny way from the outside, but also kind of sad because there are people who have bought it hook, line, and sinker.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
probably
there was
now
a ton
won't
of
buy
people
this
when
game.
it first came out.
They're all on
I'm not saying they
Twitter.
were going to boycott it,
They're all on Twitter.
They're all
but they were all like, "This is insulting to pay a woman this
They were
this
at the
amount
women's.
when you're making millions off this franchise." And it's like, yeah, guys.
What's confusing to me is like, what was her end game? Because like, if like they have
I know.
the
I
clear
know.
evidence of being like, no, this was the
And there
here's
was
the
there was
contract.
another article. Man, it's been a long week because I can't believe this came out like a week ago. But like there were numerous articles, and one of them did say that they are likely to sue her for breaking NDA.
They absolutely should. So she actually said that, and I think her first video.
She
she's
did.
like,
She was like, "I don't care. I'm already pulled."
I know I could get sued, but
Basically.
they can't take anything from me because I ain't got nothing. I'm like, well, clearly you do.
Yeah, now you're in
and
trouble.
they're gonna come get it.
And
Yep.
also, like, this is like barely a franchise that makes millions. Like the
You're
first game made 1.35 million. You know what I mean? Like, or it shipped it shipped 1.35 million.
Okay.
So like this is not like something that sold, 10 million units. Like that's
Yeah, it's
1.35 over the
not,
course of a
Not
lifetime.
a Naughty
of
Dog
15
game
years.
or whatever.
Yeah, and you
So it's
also have
like
to look
GTA
at
5
So
or
this is
something.
not a high-profile game
Yeah.
paying high-profile voice acting prices either, So it's like,
Right.
again, this is another really good example of people not understanding how the industry works. Just
Right.
because you have heard of the name Bayonetta doesn't make it like the biggest franchise ever. It just makes it something you've heard of,
Yep.
The facts are that not a lot of people buy this franchise, and it is a low-selling franchise,
Is there a conversation to have though about like how much these voice actors make sometimes, some
Yes.
versus others?
I think
Yeah,
they should
for sure.
unionize and
Absolutely.
put an end to this whole. That's what
Yeah.
I mean. They should absolutely
course.
try and figure out a way
Yeah.
to control, a constant and pay.
There's
There's
also
a
part of me
unique-
that's like,
yeah.
it's okay to me if a company's like, I'd rather pay more to get a Jennifer Hale
Yeah,
than
yeah.
than
Well,
someone who no
you
one
don't
knows.
know the whole story. She could have
I
just been
agree.
difficult, and they could have been like, "Is there anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jennifer Hell's interested. Yeah, I'm gonna take her because
So,
you're already a difficult person."
My take on it is if their highest offer was indeed $4,000, they wanted her gone. That's it.
Right.
But if they did offer her more and she's manipulating the facts, obviously for public interest, whatever, for public support, then she's just lying. Clearly,
She also could have tried to negotiate for residuals, and they were like, hard pass. We don't do that with our voice actors.
right,
Yeah.
right. She
Probably
didn't
wanted
didn't
to-
say
or
she
maybe
wanted.
rather.
Not, she
Well-
didn't say she wanted that. She called that a lie. But,
Dude, I'm
there
sorry,
were many
like,
sources that said
so
that
many
she
people-
wanted that.
So many people who work on these games don't get percentages of the
Right.
sales.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not how they all work.
Like
by
the
any-
developers who actually develop the game, I don't even think get
Right.
residuals. They get bonuses, like collective
Yeah.
Based
company
off of how many
bonuses.
games it's
Yeah.
So like
because
you
they're
don't get
already
you don't get
paid,
a
right?
percentage of sales. Like
Yeah.
that's not how that works.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. So anyway, it's all kind of a mess, but like Jeff said, it's all kind of the nom drama that we like to eat up
Absolutely.
sometimes
Yeah.
around here.
Love it.
I never thought as I got
but-
older I would care about industry drama so much. But,
Well, I'm
But-
glad you brought it up so people could see that I really do appreciate and love her.
That's right.
we all
the
took
woman
that
right
away
behind
from
you.
this.
Real flip
There's
flop.
a
Real
woman
flip-flop.
looking at you, judging you right now behind
She
you.
is. She will kill you
Hashtag
for
me
real.
too.
Yeah, she'll kill you for real. But
Well, no,
but anyway,
literally, I will kill you and your entire family.
I'm Bayonetta.
Anyway, so those are the headlines that jumped out to me this week. Jeff captured most of those, and those are the ones that I thought were notable this week as well.
For sure.
And the big thing this week has just been the deluge of games we've gotten this past
games.
week. So I just want to start
Boats,
essentially in the order, kind of in the
Boats,
order they
boats,
were
boats.
released in a way. So we'll start with the Plague Tale since that one released earlier this week. I think at least a handful of us have had a chunk of time with this game.
Yes.
And so we'll talk about Plague Tale first. So that's, of course, on Derek's background there. It's on Game Pass right now. You can go grab it there. I highly recommend, if you're interested in this, go play the first one first. The stories,
Please do. Yeah.
the stories
you need
are
to play
really.
I think you need to play the first one to, or at least watch a
At least
video
watch it,
showing
yes.
the story,
Yeah.
so you know who these characters are. Because I don't know, did they even like recap the story? I don't remember. Maybe
No.
I skipped that.
They
I don't think
there's some dialogue where they mention things, but it's assuming you know a lot.
Yeah, I
going
didn't
in.
think.
But
they
even
recapped.
then, there's a moment where Hugo does his thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into spoilers because that is a very delicate part of the
Yeah.
first game. But Hugo does his thing, and Amicia acts very surprised by it. So, I'm just saying they're definitely trying to feed into the possibility that there could be new players for this series. Yeah,
That's true. That's true. So this, I think the story of these games is amazing. I'm loving the lore so much now that I'm in the second game. I thought the lore of the first game was interesting.
Yeah.
I remember finishing it thinking really good characters, great like storytelling and dialogue, but the overall plot I thought was good in a creative way to kind of talk about the plague era of medieval times. I just thought that's kind of how I ended it, and I thought it was
and
a really
the Inquisition was like a
the
fascinating
Inquisition,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the second one, I think, has taken that lore to the next level. Like now I'm super invested in the history of this. Like it goes back centuries or maybe more. And you start to learn stuff about the supernatural elements that are at work in this game franchise. And it's just so fascinating. And I am really digging it. Like, so I actually did, even though I've played the first game and I started a second playthrough on PC when I got it there just to kind of refresh my memory a bit. But then I watched, like Derek recommended, there's some really good 10 to 12 minute videos where they'll really walk you through the story of the first one and also some of the lore. And it really helped me just kind of get that, help me remember some of the details, and because it's very intricate at times. And then I dove into the second game, and boy, is it fantastic. I think it looks incredible. I mean, there's moments where I'm like, all right, that part wasn't really addressed super detailed, but most of it looks so good. And I'm playing on a 1440p monitor. It runs very smoothly. I'm using the DLSS on the PC, so I'm running it in quality mode because this is not a game that I think necessarily needs a super high frames per second. I'm not saying that's bad, like to have it. If you like performance, that's great. I just want it to be as crisp of a picture as possible because there's only a few moments that I care as much.
But how are the hertz, Tim? How are the hertz?
The hertz hurt so good. They hurt so good.
Well played.
But anyway, so it's hard for me to say anything else, and I'll see what you guys think about it without. I don't want to spoil any of it.
Well, yeah, I was going to say the fact that
love
you have insight on the supernatural stuff means you're further ahead than I am because I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I think I'm in chapter 12 now, and I think you said there's 16, right? 16 or 17?
16 and then like an epilogue, which is like 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you go to Loadout, I think it's the website's theloadout.com or whatever, it tells you how long each chapter is based on average time frame, and the last one is like 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh, then it's just like a cinematic.
One thing I want to say about this is, and I think people who are really diehard Naughty Dog fans might just turn this off right away for me even saying this. I truly think this game is close to a Naughty Dog game quality. I'm not saying that it because Naughty Dog games will have gunplay and stuff like that, but this introduces some additional abilities. Stands out.
I gotta be the Sony pony. I gotta go, right? I mean,
I think if you like Last of Us, if you like the Uncharted games, if you like these action adventure games with very light upgradable things, equipment and abilities, and you like a combination of stealth and action with a very compelling story with pretty linear areas, although there are a couple areas that are quite big where you can explore a lot. They're surprising.
Yes.
But most of the areas are going to be somewhat corridor-ish for the most part. So it kind of makes me think of Uncharted or The Last of Us. And then there's a lot of character connections, these friendships, whether it's these comrades that you have to team up with, even if you don't want to, or maybe it's someone that you care about a lot that you're teaming up with for a particular mission. It really reminds me a lot of the way Naughty Dog does things. And in a chapter, all of a sudden, you're with someone trying to make it through this area, even though you hate this person for whatever reason. So
it sounds like this game may have gotten some extra investors to pump a bigger budget into it, is what you're pitching.
The budget's clearly bigger.
So,
I think it went from being a AA to a AAA.
It sounds like they maybe shopped around for some investors, or I don't. Maybe that I don't. I couldn't tell you who it was, but like it just sounds like they had a much bigger budget.
I'm sure they made a pretty penny off the first one.
I think they did.
I'm
too.
sure,
pretty
yeah.
successful. So
'Cause the
they could
budget was
probably,
lower.
yeah, and they could probably invest in themselves. That's
But
another
I
reason
do wanna-
why these games cost some pretty
I do want to make
pennies,
it
'cause-
clear the gameplay of the Naughty Dog games is still better. Like when it comes to combat and when it comes to some of the actual stealth things, they're kind of like top of the line across the board in a lot
Yeah,
of
I
those
think
areas.
when
But
I
this
was
is close.
playing
This is as
it,
close as anyone else has gotten, in my
I
opinion.
got
for the most
Uncharted vibes too before I even saw you say that. Like I wasn't like, I'm not Uncharted. Sorry, Last of Us.
Last
I
of
wasn't
Us,
like,
yeah.
oh, that's ridiculous. It's not at the level. I don't think it's The Last of Us when it comes to, in my opinion, quality like that.
I agree
That
with that
top
too.
tier.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not quite there.
But there's vibes there where
Yeah.
the gameplay, the stories, the character, the world,
It's-
especially some
yeah.
of the side characters where you can tell, like, going into it, this guy's not going to be around forever. What's going to happen to him? That type of thing. Like, how's this going to play out? Because they're not going to make you play the whole game with him. But my big thing is, and I've shared this before, it took me 3 years to beat the first one because I would refuse to play more than a chapter because I was like, this fucking game is annoying to play. It's absolutely annoying. So the reason I like this one is it's absolutely not annoying to play. It's actually a lot of fun. Because I think, yes, the stealth here's what I like. It stayed true to what the first one was, so its roots are there. It didn't change it.
Yeah.
But then it said, okay, but let's make it what I would consider more fun, more approachable, but also just more fun while still being very tense. Because the game doesn't go, oh, here, spoilers, here's a crossbow. Not really a spoiler, it was in trailers and stuff. Here's a crossbow, and now you have 70 arrows that you can just sit here and shoot and just start picking people off.
Yeah.
It limits it, and it does that whole Last of Us thing where it's like, no, you only can have one or two at a time, and we're usually going to put you in an arena where there's 5 or 6 enemies that you can't use 2 arrows to kill 5 or 6 enemies. You've got to use the environments, you've got to use side characters, you got to use the world. So I feel like it's more approachable while still being what the first one was. And that's what I think is taking it to, for me personally, to the next level where I'm like, dude, this isn't just okay, it's okay. I like it. I'm glad I went through it because it has a cool story like the first one. This is this has to be in my top 10. Like, this has to be,
Wow.
I don't know how it's going to make it because I feel like I'm throwing everything in my top 10, but it has to be because it's that quality.
It's so good.
And it's separating itself as we go through all these other games that were released, by the way. It's a game I said on this show that I was excited for because of the trailers making it look like it was going to be more accessible, more fun, which it ended up living up to.
Yep.
But with all these games releasing that we're going to cover, it's not the one I would have said, I want to keep playing that. Like, I want to go back to it. I thought I was going to play like 3 chapters so I could talk about it on the show, and then I would move on to all the other games. And while I'm playing all the other games, the one I want to come back to and finish before I really invest in Gotham Knights and stuff like that is A Plague Tale. Because to me, it's that good.
Damn.
Yep.
This is shocking. This is shocking.
Jeff,
stuff.
you played a good chunk of this too. You're kind of
Yes.
close to where I am in the game. A good
I'm
ways
like,
through it.
I'm
What do you
like
think?
7.5 hours in, according to. I got it on Steam so I could deck it. I could put it on my big old deck if I wanted to some point.
Does it work though? I thought it had issues.
I
with
haven't
it.
even tried it yet. But
You're just playing the PC.
at least on Steam, I can at least speak to my experience with it on PC.
Yep.
This gets my CPU really hot, and that's when I'm running it at full 4K and whatnot. So I think the optimization is not great.
How are the frames though? Are the frames okay?
I don't care about that. But like I pay attention big time to the temperature of my CPU because it's more about the long-term health of my CPU and how, like, if it keeps running hot when I'm gaming, then the quality of life is going to go down in long term for the CPU. So I've watched that. So I had to dial it down to 1440, whatever Tim's is at.
Yep.
And put it all set all low. Maybe it's the
Get
fact
on
that
my
I'm
level.
running it out of Steam.
Huh.
Or maybe I need to switch to Xbox, but that doesn't carry my save over.
So that's interesting. I've got it at 1440p. I have all the settings to high, and then DLSS is on with quality.
Yeah, I have that.
And it gets warm, but it's not crazy for me.
Okay.
So I don't know what that is.
That's
That's
weird.
interesting. Yeah.
I don't know, because I tried it, with bigger games, like arguably, like can't even argue it. Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, huge games, massive games.
Yes.
My CPU does not get warm anymore now that I've swapped out the heatsink and stuff.
It's like cold.
Yeah, it's basically freezing cold. Actually, it's
I keep meats in there.
Yep, my PC's broken.
Keep meats in there.
No, but the fact that it's like not even like I'm running around, riding on a horse, doing whatever. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a huge freaking map, and my CPU's fine. So that tells me that
there's some optimization thing happening.
Yeah, there's something going on with the optimization, and the fact that it's their own I think it's their own engine. Like I think it's proprietary.
Yeah.
They built it in-house.
From this Asobo team.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, that aside, it's not really doing much to make me hate the game or anything. I'm just throwing that out there because I think a lot of Reddit commenters have been noticing that too and stuff like that. Yeah, story-wise, it's great. It's everything the first one was, plus some, like, I don't know. It's not as rough around the edges, but there are still definitely edges. You know what I mean? Like,
a good example of where it isn't quite to that Naughty Dog level is facial animations, which are pretty good. But when they really zoom in on them talking, it's like, all right, this isn't quite the level that
they do a lot of them. I'm not talking. Yes. Like, you're like, okay, you're not really saying anything. Like,
certain words, it kind of like certain words it completes and it looks like the right way, and then other words, it's
Yeah, so like I feel like they're definitely, this game is comparable to Naughty. This is like if a Naughty Dog sister company made a game, made a AA game or whatever. Like it's really, really close.
It's close.
It's knocking on the door, so to speak.
I think it's
really
mid 80s reviews on Metacritic are super accurate. For me, it's probably honestly more mid 90s. Like if I had to rate it, it'd be in mid 90s right now out of 100. But I feel like that people are putting it in the 80s.
I feel like based on how this story is going, how they're telling the story this time, not that they didn't tell it well in Innocence, I just felt like there was a lot of introductory stuff to cover. I feel like this has potential to be the best story of the year.
It's just paced so well, man.
Yeah. I mean, outside of like stuff that hasn't come out yet.
Mario plus Rabbids would probably beat it. Because it's got a spark of hope.
You have no idea.
Spark of hope, bro.
So much hope. So much hope.
Here's one of them right there. There he is.
Look at him. Look at him. Look at that.
So picking his nose.
I'm like,
I will say,
annoyed.
Should I go from this one?
Kyle's so excited.
Are we the only three playing?
I think so far.
A Plague Tale. Nobody else is playing it. Okay.
I'm like an hour or two in. I'm at
cool.
There's like that underground part where shit starts to basically in the beginning when like you're like, oh
sideways
shit,
immediately. Yes.
Yeah, down there in that area.
Innocence though.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
yeah.
So I will say with Requiem, what I love about it is it reminds you of what Innocence was by the end of the game in the first two chapters. Like in the first two chapters, you're already surrounded by guys and like have to figure out manipulate fire and fire and kind of manipulate where rats should be and stuff very early on in the game. So you're kind of reminded, oh, these are the mechanics. That's right. And then they start throwing in other stuff like the crossbow.
I cased that perfectly because
same here.
Even though I beat it early this year, or maybe it was late last year.
I think it was this year.
I think it was this year. I beat Innocence, and so I obviously have a general idea how to play the game, but I don't remember everything. So the way they just kind of like, here, you can do this. Oh, now you can do this. And it was always, they introduced it to you and it applied right then and there. And I didn't feel like they overwhelmed me with like 70 systems or 70 things I could do. Because when that happens, then I'm like, I forgot. What am I supposed to do in this area?
Yeah.
Like what special tool?
There actually is a few overwhelming moments in the early goings where you're like, okay, now I got to switch to the bowl. Now I got to switch to the rocks. Like you kind of forget like what you got to switch to in order to do the right action, basically.
I like that
you really do get used to it.
Infinite rocks is great. No, picking up rocks is fantastic. And I do think that because you use them so much for throwing or for the slingshot. But I was going to say,
assume that she's picking them up on the way. She's outside a ton. That's basically what it is. Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention, one of the reasons why I get such strong, and I say Naughty Dog because of the way Naughty Dog makes me feel when I play a game. I feel connected. It's like a movie that I'm playing, and there's just these, or even a book that I'm reading, but I'm controlling it. Like it just does such a good job of setting the environment and the characters and making me really want to press forward. That's the key. A Naughty Dog game isn't Naughty Dog because it's the prettiest, although that's a huge part of it. That's not why. Sure. What makes it Naughty Dog is the heart and the core of it, and this has that. That's why I think of it. And a lot of it has to do with some of the banter and dialogue, and it's not as lighthearted in this game, but it's there. And
there's some of that stuff. Anytime I see
Hugo, shut up.
Oh, whatever.
Dude, I love it.
Horrible.
I love it. I love it.
You're a terrible father.
I'm never having kids because of Hugo.
Whenever
Too late.
he's allowed to be like a little
I'm
kid.
not telling my 3 kids I'm never having them.
Whatever. Whenever he's like allowed to be a kid and jump on a bed or something, I'm like, this is like great. Like it's just little moments.
Dude, Kyle didn't know he jumps on a bed.
I don't care. I'm never gonna play this.
Oh my god, you like stealth games? It's so bad.
I haven't played the first one. I don't have time to play all these games.
No, this is a great
sometimes things
one.
have to give, you know.
Yeah. This is a great one. Like when there's a lull in the future between games, and it's kind of like I've always kind of wanted to catch up on the series. They're both probably 10 to 12 hours long. Let me just take a month and just knock out these will be my 2 games or whatever. Like, and they're great. They'll do great back to back. So it's the kind of game too where it's like knowing some details isn't a huge deal. Kind of like with Naughty Dog games, knowing some details isn't a huge deal. It's more about when you play it for yourself, you're like, whoa, they did a really good job.
Yeah, because nobody can express to you. I mean, I can tell you how good they write the relationship between Amicia and Hugo, but you really have to experience it to get attached to them.
Yep.
Nobody can really explain that to you. Like there's certain, much like with movies and stuff. Like
if
I tell you Black Adam's played by a Samoan, that's not gonna matter until you see it. He's not black, guys.
God damn it!
No, he's half black. I'm sorry.
Think about God of War 2018. A lot of what made that special was Kratos and his son traveling together and talking and their connection. And then when things went wrong, like do you remember the part? Mild spoilers for 2018 God of War, when the son gets super sick and you have to go back to get something. That desperation of him.
Yes.
There's those moments in Plague Tale. A lot.
Sure.
And they're great. They're really, really great.
Dude, and the set pieces are what especially reminds me of Uncharted specifically. Like there's a part where there's just like swarms of things and just the whole neighborhood is crumbling around you and you have to run away.
It's bunny.
And I'm like, holy crap, look at all these sparks of hope.
Rabbids.
Look at all this.
Look at all these sparks of hope.
Those are my
Kyle,
favorite
Rabbids.
Those are my favorite
in
types
this
of
game.
set pieces. Is like, everything's falling underneath, like Indiana
Yeah,
Jones.
I'm a sucker for that stuff.
Yeah,
clearly they were like, now we have a budget for a Naughty Dog type set piece. And they made it.
Y'all are pitching a much more expensive, like cool,
it comes
super
across.
like great game, for sure.
It is a true AAA experience. I highly recommend it to folks who liked the 2018 God of War for the story and plot and characters especially, and the Naughty Dog games. Like if you like that kind of stuff, give this one a try.
By the way, at some point there are definitely way open areas where like enemies, you kind of have to figure out the rhythm. Some of them don't really have a rhythm though. They're just
some of the AI is weak. Some of the AI.
That's another thing where they're notched down, but from Naughty Dog.
Agreed.
But there are some points where like I'll get halfway through an open area without being seen, and then as soon as somebody spots me, I just run for the door. I'm like, I'm not gonna mess with these guys and kill them and stuff. Just run for the door because she latches the doors behind her, so who cares?
Yeah,
you move on. But I will say, I did have a glitchy moment where the person that was supposed to be with me got caught somewhere and wasn't with me. So I did that. I sprinted for the door, and you need to have all 3 of the people from that section to push the door open. And so the 2 of us are sitting there waiting at the door, and I'm getting hit with arrows. I get killed waiting for that person to show up at the door. So a couple little glitchy moments like that here and there that kick in. So it's certainly not a perfect game, but boy, is it great. I really.
It is great.
It's a really good game. I think they did an amazing job.
Yeah, I am loving it. But I want to hear about, because I kind of forgot this was getting an early release for the campaign if you pre-order it. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is fully releasing next week, but a ton of folks have access to, I think, just the campaign, right?
Just the campaign, yeah.
Just the campaign. And we've talked about this before. I loved 2019's Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I loved the way that they did that campaign. It was just brilliant. And so this is the follow-up to that.
Man.
I know Kyle's playing it. I think, Derek, you were almost finished with it. Jeff, you played a little bit of it.
Yeah, I'm 5 missions in.
Kyle, I think, beat it. I'm at the very end. Like he said, I think I got a boss fight and then another chapter.
So, Kyle, since you've had to listen to us talk a whole bunch, why don't you tell us so far what you think without
Kyle,
spoiling?
we want to know what you think.
About Call of Duty, it's the resident Call of Duty expert, of the podcast.
Obviously.
You're the most broest bro of all these bros.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just stink of bro energy. I really like this. I really like the 2019 Call of Duty as well. I beat that earlier this year and all in one sitting, much like I did with this game. I beat it all in one sitting. I really enjoyed that game because by the time that game ends in the 2019 one, like Hassan, like the main bad guy, like he gets away and you're trying to catch him in this game, and so you really want to catch this guy because like the stuff that he did in that first game is just horrible.
He's not a
It's
good boy. He's a
He's
bad
not
boy.
a good boy. Yeah, yeah.
He's
So like
he's a
the
bad-
urgency of like walking
That's interesting.
up on.
I didn't play the first one, so I'm like, all right, I guess we'll go after this guy. Like,
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
worse.
Yeah, you should have
and
gone
that's
back.
called skipping chapters in a story, dude. So yeah, I've been really enjoying, like, you know, the first few missions are like quiet and like breachy, you know, so you're kicking indoors and like storming estates and stuff like that.
yeah, the first 2 missions are Zero Dark 30, basically.
Very much so. Yeah, even
you
like
go
a
in there with night
helicopter goes
vision.
down and you gotta like go and
Yep.
secure the helicopter.
And there's a
fend off
part, dude, where
wave,
I
yeah.
opened a door and I presume some guy's wife was hunched over
My
crying
wife.
over a dead body of her husband. And,
Oh,
and she grabs the pistol and starts
Yeah.
shooting at me, so I had to put her down. I'm like, holy shit, this is
Yeah,
Zero
so
Dark
Well, there was-
immediately. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
one
go ahead.
part
Building,
where
apartment.
the woman was like playing innocent. She was like,
Mm.
and then later when you walk away and you turn back around, she's got a gun and starts shooting at you. So you have to take her out.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's a lot of moments that like you know, because if you shoot a civilian in these games, like it's over.
Game
like
over.
yeah, game over. So like you can't just like shoot everybody that you think's gonna turn on. You have to like
Right.
really.
They
you
look
know,
bad.
Okay,
So they
Spoiler
create,
alert, I shoot everybody.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I do.
He's
Dude, we
restarting
heard
a
about
lot.
your Outer Worlds playthrough.
And that's why he's not done.
Yeah, right.
That's
Derek's
why
like,
my game-
what preacher character? I never got him.
That's why I get my game to crash, because it's like, dude, stop fucking shooting the
whole
innocent.
town
no
is
characters
dead.
left. The
you
world is
kill, yeah, you killed main characters. Yeah, I there are so many cool. I feel like I don't want to get into any of like the moments in this game because I feel like seeing them is like why people play these games. So, you know, if you say something like, you know, like you know, from the first Modern Warfare 2, where it's like, oh, an EMP goes off and all these helicopters and stuff fall out of the sky and it's the craziest moment ever. Like, that's spoiling something for somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I would hate to say
Yeah, because
anything.
that's the main driving force behind
Yeah,
playing
like
those
you want to
games.
see,
You can't really change
you want to
anything that's
see the
happening.
big
Yeah.
moment, you know, the
Yeah.
spectacle, and you want it all contained. And like, while these games are way more grounded than that,
Yeah.
there's a lot of spectacle in this game. There's some really cool moments that are like had just my jaw on the floor, you know. And this game, speaking of jaw on the floor, is beautiful. Like,
Oh my god. dude.
wow.
I'm so taken by this.
I
like,
saw people posting pictures or like videos of them in Amsterdam, right? Looking around
Yes.
the
Yep.
city in
Yeah,
Amsterdam.
there's
Oh,
some
that's a
street level
really
stuff early
pretty
on,
area.
and like
It's a
and-
very pretty
and
area.
Somebody posted a TikTok of them
Like,
going,
can I
"Man,
play
this
the
new Call of
entire
Duty is
game?
sick."
I thought it was
and,
real.
like-
I thought it was a joke.
Yeah,
Like this
exactly.
is really
There
Amsterdam.
were comments that were like, "Is this real life? I'm so confused. You pulled a gun on a child. How did you do that?"
Yeah, why?
I must have
Uh,
a
And
screenshot
it's
of
just
my
it's
game.
you go to a like you globetrot
Derek.
a lot in this game, and you'll see in the trailer that like the cartel has like a really big part in this game, and like so a lot of dealing with that is just like that's an ugly world.
That's
dude.
where I
This-
ended. I ended at the border.
This
Yeah.
it's an ugly world, and this is an ugly game, man.
I'm
Like it's
gonna-
just the
I'm not-
like. Or just the
Go ahead,
morality
sorry.
of it. I mean, like, just there's a lot of just ugly stuff going on in this game, and like, it really drives you to like, dude, we got to stop all these mofo's. Like, this is crazy, you know. Like, got to
Yeah.
put an end to this reign of terror, you know. And like, I don't feel that way about Call of Duty games ever. Like, I don't care about why we're shooting stuff in these games usually, but the
Sure.
last game and this game, they really kind of, because of its grounded nature, make you like you're
Yeah.
there, your boots on the ground, you feel like you want to stop this. So like,
It felt less Michael Bay than the original ones, right?
very
So-
much so, yeah. And the characters matter, and like now,
Yeah.
like all these familiar characters like Soap and Price and Ghost that you know, like they're real people now. So it's like, you know, not like they're completely fleshed out, but like
Sure.
in the last games, they just kind of felt like super soldiers, you know. And in this game, it feels like you're a really tightly operating like special
Yeah.
ops team, and it
We're
just
a
I don't know.
team.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
it's
And there's
a
big
Call of
Avengers.
Duty.
There's big Avenger moments where you're like, oh my god, you know, like everyone,
British,
all,
so,
all of
you know,
this
so-
stuff is getting, you know, all
Sure.
the, you know, the crossroads are coming together and stuff like that. You know, all the stuff
Yeah.
that you want to happen in
love
this
that.
game happens. You know, so,
So
I
I'm
love-
the
by the way, that-
opposite.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm the opposite of like Sasan, who was like, I
Yeah.
hate this game because it's basically he didn't like the slow pace. I don't want to play a campaign that's Call of Duty multiplayer. So
No.
I've always liked the Call of Duty campaigns, but I
Right.
do appreciate the ones that feel more isolated and not like, hey guys, we're just gonna put you in a war environment and you just gonna have 87 different people shooting at you.
Right.
You don't know where they're at, and you're
yeah.
Yeah.
and I've complained about this every time. I always complain, Give me a freaking cover system if you're going to have 75 guys shooting at me and you want to be realistic.
Yeah.
But they still don't give you a cover system. But because this is more grounded and a little more isolated, yes, there are some scenes where you've got like 10, 15 enemies shooting at you. But most of the time it's 1v1 or 3v4 or 5. So it feels like more tactical. And there, again, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a mission called Alone that actually is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Call of Duty mission ever. It takes a long time to play through it, or at least I did, because I explored everything. And again, I'm not going to spoil it, but I like that they did that, and it kind of ties into the Call of Duty franchise and the direction it's going in as a whole, even with their multiplayer stuff. So the game is just... For me, it's like playing a terminal list. Like that, I feel like I'm really invested in the story. I'm really invested in a lot of the characters. No, I don't like all of them. Some of them are bro, and some of them are loud and annoying. But for the most part, it's really grounded. And even you could kind of see the twist coming.
Yeah, if you played a Call of Duty game, you
still like have this feeling of like, okay, I got to get these people. Like they are ridiculous, and they did a good job of not making it so they're evil, they're good. Like it's that mixture.
Everything feels really muddy, like morality wise. Yeah.
Like, are they?
You don't
really
even know
bad?
if you're on the right side.
Are they? Yeah. Are they really bad, or are we bad? Are they good? Are we? So I thought they did a really good job. Like I said, I haven't gotten to the very end, but I know the plot twist, and I've experienced most of the missions. And I gotta say, this is probably up there with the best Call of Duty campaign I've played. Yeah. I can't remember if I like it more in 2019, but I feel like I do. But I don't remember.
This is a perfect companion for me after I beat Spec Ops. This is like perfect.
Cool. Sure, yeah. They're both
covers a lot of the
complicated
same
shooters.
Yeah, because it handles a lot of the same moral questions and stuff, moral conundrums.
Does this give you choices to make?
No, not really. Like there's some moments where it feels like you like press, like left or right or up on the D-pad to like say different things or different things. But like I think there's no deviating paths or anything like that.
It's pretty designed. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I'm cool with that as long as it's good. That's it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, do it well. That's so cool. I'm so glad to hear that campaign is good. That is one I certainly will be playing.
Dude, it's gonna blow your mind when you start that.
Yeah, I will certainly be playing that one. I don't know if I'll be able to because CD Keys doesn't have anything for any of the newer Call of Duties, but who knows? Maybe I'll be able to find it there. I kind of just want to save a little bit of money because I'm buying so many things brand new, and I gotta just
I hear you.
Yeah,
pull back at some point. One of those is Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. I realize that I'm probably the only one of us who will put a ton of time into this. Some of you might play it, but
I already played it, but I'm gonna with me like Fire Emblem and stuff. I'll probably play it a lot more.
I played and finished the first one, so I know I'll get to this one eventually. Just I don't know when that eventually is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. For those of you who don't know, it is basically a kid-friendly XCOM light in the Mario universe. Is essentially what it is, and they added these Rabbids in for some minion-style, silly slapstick humor, and it doesn't work for everybody. I get it, but I also know the target audience, and apparently I'm part of that because I freaking love this game. But anyway, I think it's meant to be more like lighthearted and for kids. It's very silly. There's lots like if you liked Looney Tunes back in the day, if you liked Wile E. Coyote versus Roadrunner, if you like that kind of silliness, it's got some of that. And just the silly like expressions that the Rabbids make. So it does have all those things, but as a video game, it plays wonderfully. I love the new combat system. If you played the old one, you know it was a lot more grid-based, kind of like XCOM-ish a little bit. And you kind of map out your movement, and then that's it. This one is just, it gives you your, how far you can run during your turn, and you have freedom to move wherever you want and kind of switch to someone else and move them, and then you can switch back and move. So like, it gives you lots of freedom to move around, which I really love. What's weird is that you can't, so in the only Mario experiences outside of Mario RPG that you can't just jump. That is one weird thing if you're in a 3D space with the Mario character.
No jumping in a Mario game?
You can only jump. Weird. Like, and that's how the first one was too. The first one that you couldn't really run around jumping either. So, and the same with Super Mario RPG. Like there was limited jumping. I guess it's more like environmental situations, situational jumping, which whatever. Anyway.
Situational jumping.
Anyway, outside of those little moments, once you get into the game, and there's a lot more exploration this time, where it'll put you in an open area where you can explore, you can unlock stuff, you can gather more resources to go buy upgrades for your guns or more items for while you're battling. But then in the battle sequences, it's very much like the first game in that it'll take you to a new kind of an arena with different sets of cover to hide behind, and then it'll kind of let you pick which characters you want to bring with you into the battlefield, and then show you where the enemies are, and then you go. And I just think it's really brilliantly done. It's one of those things where it's got complexity to it, but it's not so difficult that an 11-year-old couldn't learn it and play it. So it's a nice balance, and I like that. It doesn't have to be super difficult. Like XCOM games get really difficult. If you've ever played those, they get really tough and
frustratingly difficult.
Frustratingly so, to where you're if you're able to make a save and then make some moves and then reload that save, because that really blew up in my face. So and it can ruin a 2-hour battle. So this doesn't have that kind of punishment. At least the first game didn't. So I assume this one won't either throughout. So I've got about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours into this game, and it's incredibly charming. It looks really good. And it plays exactly like I want it to play.
In that couple hours, have you seen anything like that train thing? I'm kind of trying to get a feel of how often stuff like that happens in the game.
No, so far I'm just in the first main area, which is an island. So it feels a little basic in terms of its area and what you're doing.
You're still in the opening hours. Yeah,
still in the first. Yeah.
How long was the first one?
20-ish. 20.
It was a decent length.
It's probably going to be around the same, if not a little longer, I imagine.
Yeah, maybe 20 to 25. I mean, I did a bunch of extra stuff too.
I wonder how many kind of that train stuff they'll fit in, because I feel like if they're going to show that off in a trailer, that indicates there's other moments like this, that are kind of big and fun and stuff. And really interested to hear about that stuff.
Yep. And if you like, a lot of the writing reminds me of the Mario and Luigi games. So if you kind of liked that tongue-in-cheek, clever, sometimes puns, but self-aware puns, you know what I mean? It's clever, and they're having fun with the writing. This has similar humor to that, and if you're okay with that kind of stuff, great. It's not cringy. It's just kind of they're just having fun, being silly.
Nintendo has a lot of success outsourcing games like this, even giving Zelda to Capcom and stuff like that. They've seen a lot of success in the past, with stuff like this. So it's I wonder if they're gonna maybe do a little more of that in the future, because I think this is one of their best-selling franchises, right? When the first game sold really, really well.
It did sell really well. Yep,
so,
it did.
Yeah, super happy.
And I know the Rabbids' faces and expressions are annoying. I get it. They are kind of ugly, but sometimes it does play for a good laugh when it pops up on a character that you don't expect. And they do add some cool characters in this time. There's even a brand new character who we didn't see in the first game who shows up. This character is actually in the background of on my screen as well, and it's in all the trailers and the advertising material. But that character's pretty cool, and their introduction's awesome, and I really dig it, man. It's a really fun game. So it's a nice one to kind of counterbalance against the darkness that is a Plague Tale. Those are my two main games at the moment.
That's really good companion games there.
I mean, they're very opposite.
The whole spectrum there, yeah.
They're very opposite. Yep.
I just want to, because I know you skipped over it, but just real quick, just so y'all know, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection came out on PC, and it's gorgeous. I really like that PlayStation is releasing all these games on PC, because
this is just 4 and Lost Legacy, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and they're
deck verified.
Yep, I did download it on deck. I don't know how I got 124 gigabytes free, but I did. I just started deleting stuff, and I was like, I got to see this on Steam Deck as well. But it's really gorgeous. It looks beautiful. These games are absolutely.
But also, I'm furious that it's not on PlayStation only consoles. So I'm so mad.
I feel
really
like
you sound angry.
Only fans should be able to play Uncharted on PC. They're just not Sony fans, So
they're not.
People on
OnlyFans
OnlyFans should.
Dude,
PlayStation selling their feet pictures on OnlyFans.
I totally follow what you're saying. All right, so another big release from this week. There's actually 2 more that I want to get to that are these next 2 are.
Oh, you better be talking about Persona 5. You better be talking about Persona 5.
No. These 2 are in the conversation, and not always in a positive light. Although, at least for Gotham Knights, I have heard you guys mostly talk positively about it, and others who are chatting about it. It doesn't sound like it's a complete disaster like you would think based on some things out there.
It's
It
definitely
sounds
not
like
a
it's a
complete
pretty
disaster.
it sounds like a pretty competent action game set in Gotham. But what do you guys think of this one so far?
GameSpot gave it a 4. It's just like
4
out of 10.
IGN
out
gave
of
it a
10.
5. IGN gave it a 5.
Yeah, but GameSpot's the low, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on there. That's the lowest I've seen. Are there anything like over like 7s, or I don't think I've seen very many. Okay,
I think it's set like a 68.
It's a huge like gap for reviews, which is
it's the definition of mixed reviews on this one.
Yeah.
If the average is almost 7 out of 10, and it's got some 4s and 5s, that means it's getting some 8s out there.
Yeah, that does. Okay, yeah,
that's cool. At least somebody's giving it. Some do, I guess.
Well, I think it should. I mean, I know out of the 3 of us in the chat, I was the one that was more like,
You're still in the opening hours, though. Like
I
don't know how long this game is, but I put a lot of time in, and I don't feel like I've made a dent.
It's pretty
in
long,
it, so,
dude.
Yeah,
I looked up the mission list, and I'm like, holy crap! It's it's a lot.
I think it's gonna be one of those games like, and I think buying like 16 games within 2 days is gonna put a hurting on some of the games. Meaning you're gonna connect with some, and then you're not gonna have as much patience for the other ones because you're gonna put it on and be like, you're not at my level.
It already happened to me with one of the new releases from this week that we'll talk about in a minute. So yeah. I totally feel that. I totally get it.
So for me, it was Gotham Knights, and again, it's not that I don't like it.
You're just playing other great stuff right now.
It's that plus the first time I played it was like at 1 a.m. I was completely exhausted, and I started playing it. And I just looked at it, and again, I'm playing on PC, so I'm not whining about 30 frames per second. I'm playing it at 60 frames per second, and it's all maxed out. And I'm playing it, and I'm going, this isn't very pretty. But by the way, I do want to say this: the intro scene is epic as hell. Like I was like,
it's so good. It's basically a movie. It's so good.
How can this
and
be
it
this
just keeps going? Like,
yeah,
what?
It's really good, and I was like, how could this game be just so bad, but this intro be so good? But and I'm saying I was speaking from the standpoint of reviewers. How could they not watch this and be intrigued by the mystery and the story? So I watched that. I thought that was amazing, and then I started playing it, and I was just like, man, I really, this is me personally, I really feel like I really wish the visuals and even the combat was a little higher level. Like I don't feel like it's that quality level that you get from, let's say, we'll compare it to the Batman games, because that would make sense.
I think that has a lot to do with like making sure this game is a 2-player game, and then in a month a 4-player game. So obviously, like you can't have those like ultra pristine graphics if you're sharing like loading with another character in your server. So
which I can get over that. Just like I got over it with Saints Row, which is actually, in my opinion, way uglier than this game. So
I'll agree with that, and I do like,
and way more. I
have liked my time with Saints Row. Yeah.
I like Saints Row a lot too, but Saints Row is much more of a mess than this game.
Saints Row towards the end, I was like, "What the? Where are you shooting?" But like,
what is that?
I enjoyed Saints Row, but I saw its glaring issues, and like I said in the chat, I would never fight with anybody who's like, "I hate this game." I'm like, I get it. Gotham Knights, I'll fight you on. Like, I will absolutely fight you if you say this game is. It's going to be one of those games where people are going to say it's bad without playing it because other people said it was bad.
That's all the comments I'm seeing are people like looking at clips on like TikTok. I don't know why my feed keeps getting clogged with this crap on TikTok. But I keep getting clogged with footage
because you're using TikTok
from Arkham Knights or Gotham Knights, and all the comments are like, "Man, what happened to this series?" Like, I'm like, "What are you talking about? It looks gorgeous." Like,
they want the approval of others to like their comic because they're
that's what it is.
Yeah. Also, I mean, what's happened to this series? It's one game and it just came out. Like,
but it's Batman. It's a Batman.
But I don't think it's not. It's not even technically connected to those games, is it? Is it officially connected to them?
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
It's not even connected to Batman Origins.
So it's a brand new game.
Yeah, universe. Yeah.
Kyle, you mentioned in the chat how they dumped the counter system. Do you think the multiplayer component is, because think about what makes those countering systems successful? If you really pay attention, everything slows down every time you counter, or maybe right before you need to counter. Games are trying to help you out in these different ways. So, like, if you slow down every time someone countered in a multiplayer, I mean, the single player game is fine. But multiplayer, do you
I
think
think a
that's part of
lot.
it?
I think a lot of things are the way they are because of
it's
its
co-op.
need to be a co-op game.
Yeah.
So if that's going to be bothersome to some, because some people just like, I just want to play a single player game, yada yada. I get that, This is definitely kind of like what they were trying to do with Avengers, but like the execution I think is way better. You're not bogged down by all these like menus and choosing missions and stuff like that. There's a lot more organicness of like making like progressing through the game and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you know what my favorite part is
oh,
with the loot compared to Avengers, which is an app comparison. That's a great game to compare it to. The loot isn't
Good
so
job,
freaking overwhelming. You can go in there and choose to craft what you want.
Yeah, you
Well, that's
make
nice.
You
your
can
loot.
just be like,
So,
oh, I don't want that, and just wait. You know what I mean?
You're,
Like,
you're
They just
getting
give
like
you material.
drops every once in a while, kinda, but really like you're going to make your stuff. So like it's not like Diablo where every time you kill someone, you're like, oh, we just killed a mob.
Yeah.
Let me pause and equip my 2% changes of weapon. It's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Whenever you put
and
on
in
a new
fact,
piece
you
of
can't
weapon,
equip it. You
get
have to
way
craft
more
it
powerful.
and then go back and to Belfry.
Yeah,
and
you
get
can
it.
only you can only equip stuff like when you're at the Belfry. So like there's
Yeah.
when you're on patrols like for a portion of the game, and then like whenever you turn in for the night after you've depleted kind of like that night's worth of events, you can go back to the Belfry where you like upgrade and talk to your crew and go through like memories of Bruce Wayne and stuff like that. It's very like people were comparing it to Guardians of the Galaxy, like when you go back on the ship, it is kind of like that. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy is executed a little better. But like there's still a lot of talking that is there, like that is very present. So it's cool that you get those things. And co-op is a cinch. Like me and Jeff were playing like 2 hours last night. I played like 8 hours a day with my buddy, like you just jump right into somebody's game and you just start playing.
How does progression work with that?
So when you're out, you're getting like clue experience, and whenever you bring those clues back, like it unlocks like more crimes and stuff like that for you to do the next night. So you bring those clues back with you to your game, but like you only make progress in the story in the host's game.
Got it.
So, but like when you go back, like you carry your experience with you, all your upgrades and everything like that. It's
gear,
Far Cry pretty much. It's like Far Cry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, just so you know, who like reviewers who like this game. Like,
oh, good.
There's a lot of low ball, but I even saw a 95.
What, 95?
Lots of 70s, lots of 80s.
Cool.
And a few 90s. Yeah.
And some like, and it's not just random one-off who cares about this website reviews. There's some like legitimate, like Game Informer gave it a 73. That's not bad. Like it got some pretty good scores from some reputable known places, and it got some weirdly low score. But also think about a company like IGN, which is massive and has locations all around. Yes, one of their locations gave it a 5, one gave it a 7. Like they're
really? Okay.
They vary as well. So it just depends on the reviewer, their expectations. If you go into it thinking this is going to be
an Arkham
Knight,
game,
this is an Arkham Knight 3 or whatever, like it's like no,
like you are playing a different game. So like I think a lot of people are showing up going like I'm playing an Arkham game. You're not. It's not even kind of an Arkham game.
That's a big
that's why they left the title not. They didn't put Arkham anywhere.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
It's not called Arkham anything, It's called Gotham Knights,
It should have been Gotham Knights, not Arkham. That should have been
not Arkham. Yeah, even though Arkham is
not
in this
Arkham,
game,
not a
map,
Batman.
so.
Yeah, not Arkham, no Batman present.
I will say I don't want to, because it sounds like I'm coming off like I'm very positive on this game. I mean, there are some clunkiness to the controls. There's a lot of like, hey, stop jumping to that wall like Assassin's Creed. Not there,
dude,
not there, not there. I'm saying that all the time in this game.
Much like Mario plus Rabbids, there's no jump button except if you're close to a ledge. That's pretty much it. It's really weird. Like it's like just put a jump button in there, like so I can. I don't know.
I mean, so Gaston is furious then.
Yeah, somewhere Gaston.
Well, they wanted to keep the story in the game grounded, literally.
Yeah, literally. But it just doesn't make sense to me when these characters openly talk about doing parkour together. Like they talk about, man, we should do some parkour sometime. Yeah. And I'm like, but you can't because you can't jump. So I don't.
Yeah. So and getting around is like just kind of zip lining everywhere, and like that's cool at first, but you're like, okay, this is kind of weird. So like getting on your bike is kind of a better way to like cross like major distances. I think you get more vehicles later, so I think you get like a jetpack or something like that. So it's like there's a lot to unlock in this game and a lot to uncover and everything, and like
different color schemes.
There are so many different like
it is an open world game, right? Like you can just explore
wherever you want.
From the very start you can go to every corner of the map.
And there's like 4 islands, I think, 4 little
There's 5
whatever?
wards, but like 4 big areas or
Is
something.
it
like that,
limited
yeah.
by what level you are? Can you get just
Nope.
destroyed
Yeah,
if you
no,
go to the wrong place?
everything like when you load into your patrol that night, everything I believe is like to your level. You
It
know,
is.
scaled to your level.
And also each of the crimes or whatever will tell you recommended levels and
Oh, nice.
yeah,
like
yeah,
those
so-
campaign missions, it'll be like recommended level, whatever, blah blah blah.
yeah.
So
Okay.
that's how that's kind of split up.
Yeah, and so I'm just, man, like, again, I was saying in chat, like, just every time that, like, all right, what are we doing next? Okay, we're gonna go do this like armed robbery mission. Oh, it's kind of far. All right, let's get on our bikes. And when both people jump on their bikes and speed off, I don't know what it is about it, but it's super rad. I think
love
it's
it.
like,
Yeah, I love
it's
that.
so cool, man.
Especially
like,
because when you spawn your bike, it just uncamouflages itself
and
and
it
it's
rolls
like right
up.
there.
But like when
That's
you
where
make like
just
when you make
flip
drifts
on
around
it.
corners, like it makes the Batman Begins like
Oh.
tank like drift out, like like
Oh,
drifting
that's cool.
noise.
I
It's
love
just
that
such an
noise.
auditory delight and a really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, the audio in this game is, I'm sorry, the music in this game is really cool too. Not that I'm listening to it when I'm not playing it, but like it's very Batman-y. It's like when
Yeah.
the combat picks up, you're like, oh, this is Batman. But especially when you're on that bike, like this like really
Yeah.
fast-paced like song
Doing like
picks
a
up.
It's like, ooh.
Yeah, very Matrixy,
Yeah.
very Batman-y. It's
Does
very
it do
very
all the
cool.
open world
Very
stuff where it's
Nolan-y.
like we introduce a thing to you and now here they all are on the map if you want to do more? Does it kind of do that kind of open world
Yes.
approach?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah.
just got to a point where it's like, here's secret caches, and like it's like, okay, now that you've done
Yeah.
one, here's 20
I
on the map.
unlocked
And it's
so
like,
many.
okay.
Oh my god.
And
and
then-
it's like, okay,
does it have,
the
like,
first,
Strings of side missions where it's like a side
Yes.
mission series, basically?
yes,
Does it
there
present-
are 3 sets of side missions that involve major villains for Batman.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that they all have multiple parts, so you'll just do it throughout.
I love
the
that.
main
kind of
story.
chipping away at the
Yeah.
case night by night. So like
Yeah.
you might hit like okay, that's as far as I can go tonight on this particular
Oh,
case.
okay.
I'll have to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
back to the Belfry, get all my evidence in line, which there's no mini
Mhm.
game there. Like you take everything you've collected that night, you
It
put it kind of
auto
on a board.
uploads it, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, we kind of can anticipate that Harley's gonna do this now, so let's go
Yeah.
and stop her, and then like the next part of that story kind of takes
That's
place.
cool.
That's what they
yeah.
broke down in that. Was it IGN? I think they were doing,
Yeah, they
or
did a
was it Game
hands-on
Informer?
preview or something,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, yeah.
it was-
Where they were like,
they
yeah, you
covered that
get
really
more
well.
information.
By the way, I bet
and
it's like they're like, oh man,
Mhm.
we let IGN kind of do it first for like months, and then they just shit all over our game. That's
Yeah. I have to say that
that shows everybody that you can shut up about people taking money for reviews, because
There's
that's
clearly
yeah,
no.
Sure.
that's like the dumbest
Yeah.
like conspiracy theory in the entire
They
world. for
definitely
me.
take money for previews, but that's
Yeah, never reviews. But IGN hates plenty
Yeah.
of things that are high
I
profile.
mean,
and
unless
they've taken money
unless
on.
critics, unless you're a critic that reviews movies for like Disney, then you're paid by Disney to like those movies.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
I've actually been
Yeah.
told I've never genuinely liked a Disney movie. I'm just a shill.
Oh,
So.
I'm sorry to hear that, Kyle.
Wow.
I know.
Sorry.
It was really weird for me to hear. I was like, I could have
Yeah.
sworn I liked them.
I
And,
want to ask a question to the guys playing Gotham Knights. Who's your main?
I'm switching every time I go to the Belfry.
Okay. so you-
I am alternating, but I always can't wait to get back to Red Hood because he, to me, is the most fun, and he feels like the combat, which is a little slower. It's more
Tanky,
It's more
weighty.
It's
yeah.
more tanky and weighty, kind of like Arkham Origins was, and kind of like Avengers was, where like
Mm.
you're kind of you're not going to be fast as Spider-Man, basically. But with
Yeah.
this guy, that type of style makes sense because he's a big freaking dude, and
Yeah.
his gunplay is just super fun.
So my question with switching characters, because I'm only playing as Red Hood, and I was thinking about switching, but I was like, well, I don't want to lose my character progression.
No.
Is everybody
Everyone's leveling up
leveling
at
up
the
with you?
same time. Yeah. The only thing that you'll need to do is before you go out with somebody is make sure that you have like the maximum equipment equipped. So like, and
Okay,
you may have to
I'll
go
do that.
craft something or something along those lines. But yeah, like the game really wants you to be switching, because sometimes like you'll choose a character and you'll go out and they'll be like, hey, here's a Barbara-centric mission that only
Oh, yeah.
appears when you're Barbara, So like, I don't think the game did a very good job, or the marketing telling you, like, it was like, pick your character and play it all the way to the end. That's not really how you're supposed to play this game.
Yeah.
It really wants you to go
And there's
out.
even some
Everyone
stealthy
maybe
can.
favor somebody,
you
but
can,
like
but-
it wants you to like,
right.
kind of choose someone different every once in a while.
And Kyle, did you do one of those secret caches yet?
The secret, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a couple, at least the one that I went to, the first one, I've only done one so far. There's like a part where you need to go through lasers or whatever, but I was Nightwing, and he didn't have the ability to do that. Batgirl and I think Robin have the ability to trick the lasers or turn them off, so you can go in there and turn off all the cameras or whatever. So like I couldn't do that, so I had to find a workaround to get the secret cache, basically.
Yeah.
Or, no, it was a server. That's what it was. You had to shut down a server or something like that.
Yeah, I had to
Yeah.
I just destroyed the cameras. But yeah, if you were Batgirl, you could hack them or whatever. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
Okay.
like there's different
But
ways
I like
to kinda...
that the missions change based off of who you're
They
playing.
And,
do.
if, and if you do play with somebody and y'all are both being blooded about like I want to be Red Hood, no, I want to be Red Hood. You can both be Red Hood. The game doesn't care. Like
Yeah, the game
nothing-
doesn't give a shit. Yeah, it's
there's
really
nothing
funny.
stopping you.
Yeah.
Like the game doesn't address it. Like ooh, through some multiversal
right now,
portal. You
This
know,
game
like,
doesn't care at all.
it just doesn't care. Like it's just like please just have fun with
Because
your
it's a
buddies in this
video game. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Right.
yeah.
So
Sometimes it's fun.
right now it's just
No?
2-player co-op, but they are planning to do.
Yeah,
4
next month I think in a couple short weeks they were like, yeah, we're gonna release 4-player
Okay,
co-op.
see, to me this
That's smart. That's really
you guys
smart.
are
actually.
selling this game, and again, I've enjoyed my 2 hours. I didn't say it was bad, but you're
Yeah.
selling it as a better game.
I think
than,
the first 2 hours of this game, and I know this is probably cliche to say, like of course it is. It's the worst part of that game. You know what I mean? Like you're learning everything. It's kind of slow, but once like you're out in the open world and you kind of understand how the crime system works and like what the like
Yeah.
That's
loop
what
of the
I'm
game
learning
is,
right now.
you're like, oh, okay, this is fun, you know? And like
Yeah.
the crimes are random. So like on like Jeff's night 3, he had all these different types of missions that he was doing, and I just did night 3 and I didn't do any of those missions. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's like you're getting different, like you might go to the same place, but like the objectives are different. Like, hey, this is a disarming mission now. Like
Did you
it's not
do the,
filled with bad guys.
Did you do the Mr. Freeze one yet? I know it's like
I
a side
did,
mission.
yeah.
Dude, that was way more involved than I expected it to be for just a side quest. Like,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, this is
And
like
then that
this is like
opened
an
off
hour-long
into
thing.
and then
It's-
that opened up into a whole like site.
Yeah.
Like so now
Yes,
on
yeah.
night 2, it's like we have to figure out where he's going with the thing that he has. So it's like
Yeah.
it's again like little tiny things
Wow.
that you think are just like, hey, go check
Yeah.
on this, end up being these big huge events, you know.
It's just
So
crazy that they
Okay.
put so much effort into a game I'm told I should hate. It's just wild.
it's got 4s, Jeff, and that's facts. Those are facts.
Force.
Science, really. It's all it is. Science.
Anyways,
This is
I'm-
honestly, among all the games that we've talked about, this is actually the one that I can't wait to go back to. the most.
yeah, same here. And like even like changing, like when you're changing your suit, like your suit changes, like the way
Yeah.
that your character looks. So it's
Yeah,
like
it's not like
there are
Avengers
opportunities that
where
where you
it's
look
like,
really cool.
well,
you know?
it's a new bracelet, but it doesn't look like a new bracelet.
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah,
not
exactly.
Like,
Like in
So
Avengers, like you're putting on things that don't
dumb.
change the way
It
you
is so
look.
dumb.
Again, this is
So
literally
dumb.
what Avengers was trying to do,
yeah.
but they're like, we're not making this games as a service. That's stupid, and everything they did
yeah.
wrong, we're doing right. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You're
this
you're
game's getting
unlocking these
crucified for it.
things like you did back in the day in video games when it was just fun and you didn't have to pay for extra shit.
Yeah.
Like you just
There's none of
unlocked
that here.
stuff because
None
it
of
was
that.
cool. Whereas
You are
Avengers,
leveling
like
up
extra
and,
money.
and your gear raises your power level and stuff, so there's that aspect of it, but it's the
Yeah.
fact that every time you change your gear, depending on what you're crafting, it like my Robin dude looks totally different now. He looks awesome.
Yeah.
And he was a freaking dweeb before, so like I had to do something, you know. He's the most annoying character for sure.
Yeah, but Tim Drake
Yeah.
is like the worst character.
He's a
ever.
plague on Batman. A plague tail
DC
Robin.
really
10
took
years
a lot of
old.
wrong turns making that Robin. I'm like, how did you get 2 Robins right, and then you got a third one?
Yeah, you got a third one, you totally have
Get
them
the
up.
third
Yeah.
one
Third
right.
time's
And then
not-
Damien
Like
came, who's a
Hugo.
different Robin, and he's cool. So it's like, how did you screw this guy? Anyways, I'm sorry. That's my Batman rant.
It's
I
wild.
digress.
Because Jason Todd, great backstory. Dick Grayson, great backstory. Like,
Yeah, right.
Barbara
Wait a minute.
Gordon,
So this is
great
Batgirl and 3
backstory.
Robins?
Pretty much.
No. So Dick Grayson was Robin, became Nightwing. You know.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, and then so
That-
at one
all
point,
3
Robin.
were Robins at one point.
All
right?
3
They were,
were
they were.
Robins,
So
and
it's
there's
Batgirl and
a
3
bunch of
Robins.
dialogue about that. Yeah.
It's a bunch. I see. I
There's
didn't
a bunch of
realize.
dialogue, yeah.
I didn't realize
Yeah, 'cause
Red.
he was
Red Hood
killed.
was
He was killed by Joker in the comics, and
Jason Todd was the second Robin, yeah, and he was
Yeah.
killed by the
they
Joker.
killed him. And
Okay.
then Ra's al Ghul resurrected him in the Lazarus Pit, but he came back all fucked up. So
Yeah, and he was really
okay.
mad at Batman for letting him die, so
Yeah.
he went out and murdered like a bunch of people about
Yeah,
it.
there's
so.
a movie. I saw that movie, that animated
Yeah,
movie. a while back.
Mask of the Red Hood or whatever. It's a great.
under
movie.
under the
That's
Red
a-
Hood, something
Okay.
like
Under
that.
the Red Hood.
Great.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
great movie.
It's a wonderful movie. Yeah.
Loved it.
DC animated still very good.
Listen, I'm-
not gonna lie.
So far, we are 4 for 4 on 4 excellent games
Yeah.
that have come out this past week. We've got a Plague Tale Requiem that, for some people, they're gonna love it. Mario plus Rabbids, for folks who give it a try and like that kind of game, they're gonna love it. Call of Duty Modern Warfare campaign sounds epic and gorgeous, and Gotham Knights, which sounds like a game that's getting some, in some cases, unwarranted hate, but it's a really solid, fun open world action,
Yeah.
especially co-op
Just-
game.
Let's end it
Just
on a negative
people-
note.
People,
but-
please
That's
just
what I'm
get
about to
past
do.
just get past the Live in La Vida Loca part in Gotham Knights. I'm just begging
I've
you.
gone through it twice and it's awful. It's the
It's
worst thing in the
awful,
entire world. But
but
it's
just
it's
move
only a
past
couple
it.
minutes and it
Yeah.
never does anything like that
I
again.
can't.
so.
I can't.
You can't do it.
Also, I'm playing it at 30 frames per second and I can't tell. So
Can't tell.
Why are you lying?
all
Why
right,
is
all
Kyle
right.
lying?
I'm
to
not
us?
lying.
You're
Why are you lying, bro?
Such a lying
I'm not.
liar.
So,
Why are you lying, bro?
Here's the way I recommend people play video games. Just play it, and if it doesn't look or feel right, then try to make some adjustments till it is at the requirement. Don't sit there and track it with your tracker in the corner, because if you don't notice it, it's probably fine. That's what really annoys me. It's like, well, it wasn't at 60. Well, why?
I would
'Cause you
have
had the little
never
thing up in
known
the
what the
corner?
frame rate was of this game unless they made a whole bunch of articles
know.
about it. wouldn't
I
have.
just think
That's
if
just
you
a
play
fact.
it, and if it's not quite right, doesn't feel right, just, whatever, it doesn't look right, it could look better, then go fix it. Go. Why you always lying, Dancer? All right, because
you always lying.
viewers can't see. All right, new Tales from the Borderlands has released as well, and this is one of those games that it just
5 for 5, guys.
it takes a long time to release. I think
I
if this game had
wish.
released in a different time,
Different
maybe
people too, right? Different creators,
Different
different
creators.
everything.
They hired a bunch of Telltale people to help with the writing, and I don't know that they took their advice at all. I'm gonna be honest.
No, I don't know if what's his face.
You do realize it was like a Telltale
Gearbox was-
janitor.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was someone who
Former
worked at
Telltale
Telltale.
employee.
They
It was
brought
a
on as
security
writers.
guard that they contracted at the building.
He ran
Just so they
parking
can
lot.
legally say, "Hey, we had people from
We
Telltale."
had people from Telltale, yeah.
Shit.
Well,
Goddamn.
this is one of those games that, like, even if it's a 6 or 7 out of 10, that kind of a game, but if it came out, let's say in December or
Right.
early January, like, maybe people be a little more forgiving, because it's like, oh, cool, a new game, and maybe they'd enjoy it more. There's something about it releasing right now that's like, really, you're gonna put this out right now?
I remember watching a week before it came out, or the week that it was releasing. I finally watched the 18-minute gameplay of one of the episodes. It's not the first episode because I didn't see it there, but I was just like kind of cringing the whole way. I didn't really think the gameplay, when they did introduce the QuickTime stuff, I didn't think it was that like exciting or interesting. So I was like, all right, whatever, that's fine. That's just one clip, I need context. I need to be able to feel it in my hands. How does it feel? So I did commit myself to one episode. There's 5 episodes. Each episode's like 2 hours, much like all Telltale games were. And so I did finish the first episode, and it's just a little bit of a slog. Like, I just don't remember Telltale games being this way. Like, I remember the first Tales game like grabbing me immediately because it was just so freaking funny, and the voice acting was so brilliant, and the stuff you were doing was really interesting, like and funny at some point. And in this one, their version of jokes is like the girl and the woman in the wheelchair that owns a yogurt shop. She's constantly hitting on her employee. How is that fun? I'm not like offended by that, but it's just low effort humor to me. Like, it just doesn't play very well.
That's been done before, and
it's just played out. Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. There was actually a character that I met near the end of the first episode that the doctor girl meets, who was actually quite funny. And I was like, why didn't you do this at the beginning of the and the robot guy? There's a robot guy, his name's Louis, but it's spelled with like numbers and stuff. He's very funny too. He's an assassin bot, and all he needs people to do is say their name and he'll just shoot them in the head. But his personality is just so funny. Like, so he's actually pretty enjoyable too. But there's something to do with the lack of excitement around the QTEs that they did design, and how I felt they didn't take the lessons that Telltale learned over time and apply it to this new game, because the last Walking Dead game that they did had so much extra stuff to it that none of the other Telltale games had, in terms of like camera movement and how you're able to walk around and explore, and how much bigger the areas were that you could explore in.
I still haven't played that, but I've heard it's the best
really
one.
good. It's
the best.
Absolutely. I mean, at least gameplay.
Gameplay. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like they didn't take that. This game feels like an early Telltale game, like Back to the Future Telltale, where it's still rougher on the edges. I'm still gonna honestly probably beat it someday, but it's the fact that it didn't grab me immediately, make me laugh.
I think it releasing right now hurts it more. I mean, it's still a 70 on Meta. I think it's gonna be
not terrible.
decent.
It just
I'll
compare
play
it to
it
other
later.
stuff I'm playing.
Just telling you, man,
I mean,
this is the kind of game that
I think Oh, go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say it's the kind of game that just they picked the wrong release week.
Yeah.
Like, even if you couldn't take it back to the drawing board and do too much to improve it or change it, like, okay, everything's set in stone. We can't do anything without scrapping it all. Fair enough. Release it like the last week of November or the second week of December or even into January. Like, I know it's a delay, but there's something about where it's releasing that just feels.
Oh, by the way,
it's a
do you guys
disservice
remember Reese from Tales from the Borderlands? He was the lead guy. Troy Baker
Yeah.
was. Yeah. He's in this. I think he's in Borderlands 3 as well, right?
He is.
He's the
they
boss.
changed his voice actor in that. Yeah.
They did. They changed it for this too.
Only offered Troy Baker $4,000.
$4,000.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
His character, I don't really care what they did with his character, and he was like so funny, effortlessly funny in the first Tales game, and in this one I was just like, what the hell happened, dude?
Well,
like,
it's funny because people said they ruined his character in Borderlands 3 as well, which
they definitely
shows,
continue to do that.
Yeah, so it's like
they
it's a
did
trend.
run a lot of things in Borderlands 3, and I like that game.
I like that
But
game.
they didn't do
too.
this.
It was fun.
story
The time I had in that game was very fun. Yeah.
Guys, they actually offered Troy Baker $4,001 because he's a man. He has to get offered a little bit more.
Oh,
A little bit
Oh
more.
wow!
You don't
Commentary.
want
A little
I
bit
thought it
more.
was 70
Little bit
cents or whatever.
I do remember feeling a
Oh.
70,
paradigm shift.
$4,000.70.
Yeah, there you go. I do remember there being a paradigm shift in the group, though, in our chat, even because I think we were all really excited for this game at some point when I gauged the hype.
Yeah,
and then,
'cause
like,
Telltale,
literally,
that's my favorite
literally
Telltale
2
game,
weeks
yeah.
ago, we all go, something feels off about this game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think Jeff, you saw footage of it. I don't think anybody else. I don't think any of us.
That's because
like,
they
all
were
of us
paying
felt-
publications to do previews. Like, at
yeah,
all.
yeah, that's right. So
It was
all of
just
it
quiet.
felt really. I don't know. It just felt off.
It's
suddenly,
Gearbox, right? As long as
know?
you have no
It
money.
is.
It's
Yeah.
Gearbox.
Yeah,
So-
it's
Gearbox and
not like they
2K.
don't have any money.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2K too. Yeah, especially.
I think,
so it's.
I think for me, what hurts this game with, I only played like 30 seconds. I just wanted to see what it looked like, what the vibe was. But like, what hurts this game for me personally is there are two big story-driven games. Like, I'm talking main thing is plot that
Right.
release,
Like
and I'm
Plague
gonna
Tale, yeah.
always pay. I'm gonna pick a Plague Tale over this any day, not just because it has better characters, better story, but it has more interesting actual gameplay, and I
Yes.
want to play a video game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
this
think
is
the
going
can get
back
a story.
to-
Yeah,
this is
you
going
can get
back
the
to,
best
like,
of both worlds.
This is going back to way old school Telltale. That's what it feels like to me.
Well, that's what
gameplay.
a lot of
Yeah.
reviews said, is that
Oh,
like the
interesting, okay.
gameplay is like not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That the little bit that's there is not
just
interesting.
Move
Yeah,
to
you're
the
really
left a
just
little
walking
bit,
to
yeah.
the next like interactive thing.
Yeah.
You know, like there's.
I don't
nothing
even
for
think
that.
there's like real puzzles or anything like that.
Not
You're
really.
just walking,
And then hitting a button.
talking, making
Yeah.
decisions.
They're also
which-
what's
if they're good
totally
decisions,
absent.
yeah, but-
I noticed 2 hours in the first episode. I feel like I should have seen this. I didn't see any indication that the choice I was making was a huge choice. I didn't see any indication that so and so will remember that.
You should feel
So
something
I have
big in the
no
first
clue
episode, I
what
think.
choices I'm making
Should
that
have been a
matter.
hook.
Yeah, I don't. It's just
You would
interesting.
Do they
think
still
there'd
do
be
the
a
summary at the end of every
They
episode?
do, but
Okay.
they just
love
basically
that.
compared my choices to other players, and they didn't really tell me, like, was that a big choice? I don't know. It was just like
Yeah,
a
I
bunch
love
of
that about
choices.
Quarry too. Didn't the Quarry tell you percentages of
It
stuff?
did.
They
Yeah.
did.
I love
Yeah.
that kind of
Quarry.
Me too. Me too.
Love
Stats
It sound
are
like
so
they
cool.
Because
Sound
you
like they
may
started
not
from
need
scratch,
validation
right?
for all your
I think so.
think so.
Yeah. I don't think they
Alphas
built
don't
off of any
need
existing
validation.
engines or anything.
Yeah, I do need validation sometimes for my decisions. Yes, but also, yeah, I
I
think
do
they
need
built this one
validation
from
so I
scratch.
can reject it and go, that's not a thing. You don't think that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. You know, with we just talked through 5 games that are brand new: Plague Tale, Mario plus Rabbids, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, Gotham Knights, and New Tales from the Borderlands. And 4 out of those 5, I'm like, I really want to play these games as soon as I can, as soon as I can make time. So I want to finish up Plague Tale. I'll keep playing Mario plus Rabbids. I assume that's a pretty big game. I want to do the campaign for Call of Duty. I'm getting real excited after hearing you guys talk about Gotham Knights to play that game. New Tales from the Borderlands might be something that we get to Game of the Year discussion. I'm like, guys, I still haven't given it any time. I just haven't like it, and that's just because of the timing of it releasing, but also the reviews. Like those two things combined are like they're killing it for me. Like I
And
don't.
you got God of War coming out in 2
There's
weeks.
two. I mean,
Well,
the wave.
there's no
is crazy.
break until like summer next year. Like there isn't. Like if you just look at the whole release schedule, like
Till summer.
Stupid.
that's why it's like you guys we got to play Plagues. When am I going to play 2 Plague's Tale games between now and summer 2019?
Kyle, figure it out.
2023 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
And that's
it's
when
crazy.
I
Final
forgot
Fantasy
about
16
I
is
forgot
what's
about Crisis Core is coming out in December as well. So you've
that's-
got Marvel's, Need for
Week
Speed,
after Midnight
Callisto,
Suns and all
Crisis
that.
Core, yeah.
Yep.
I like December. Why is December October?
Yeah, what's going on with
What's
December?
going on
What's
there?
happening?
I would actually say November's kind of light compared to even
For
December.
me,
Yeah.
it is. If you're
There's
if you're
just
talking about
there's
games
like one
purchased each month.
huge game that I mean, at least for me, there's like one huge game in November, and then
Well,
everything else around it
But
is like
Evil
maybe I'll
West
get
is
it.
big
You know?
for me. Evil
Pokemon.
West is a big one for me, but
Yeah, Evil West, but also I want to play Tactics Ogre Reborn. Like, there's a lot going on in November.
there's still a lot. I'm saying to
But
me,
it's lighter.
those four I just listed: Marvel,
Yeah.
Need for Speed,
Those are triple
Callisto,
A
and
games.
Crisis Core.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Triple
those
compared
are
to the
4
games that just
games
came out is kind of
within
crazy. Yeah.
What, 1 week of each other? Good lord.
Yeah, I think
3
they're all within a week of each other. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 release on the same day, and then 1 releases 11
The next
days later.
So
Yeah.
next week, we've got. Let me read through here. What's the big one? Of course, Call of Duty, the full version of it will
Bayonetta.
come out. Sackboy: A Big Adventure on PC. Star Ocean: Divine Force, Bayonetta 3.
Star.
And then
If
of course,
Star Ocean's on the deck and it's deck verified, I'm probably gonna pick it up. Just
Kyle,
So, yeah.
I played the demo for like 15-20 minutes and no.
I
Can't do
hated
it.
the demo. I hated everything
No.
about the demo.
if Dan is saying
No.
no, then it's definitely a
But
no on
if
that one.
it's Steam
No.
Deck verified.
Yeah, but if it's Steam Deck verified, I'm
No.
fine with
Whether the
a
game's
No.
really bad but okay looking RPG.
So, yeah,
on a
that's-
handheld.
Bayonetta 3, Call of
was
Duty
just
Modern
gonna
Warfare
say.
2, but don't forget that Resident Evil Village also has their
Yeah.
major DLC elements coming out next week.
Buying that for sure.
That's next week as well. And then you're right, the beginning of November, I already have written off Harvestella. The demo just told me I'm not going to be interested in playing any more of that.
Bummer.
Yeah,
Bummer.
which is unfortunate. The combat
But-
was so
I'm-
lackluster.
I'm curious about Sonic Frontiers. Pumped for God of War Ragnarok, of course. I know that Pokemon, for those who love that series, that's
Oh, I
going to take
forgot
up a
about
ton of time. Spider-Man Miles Morales on PC, I'll be getting that.
that. Oh damn! I forgot about that too. Of course I got to play that. It's like
and,
8 hours. Of course I got to play that.
And Evil West does look really good. I'm
Yeah,
really
it looks
interested.
really
it
good.
does.
Yeah.
And that's not to mention the little things that could grab our attention, like
Devil in
Pentiment.
Me is one. Pentiment for
People-
sure.
yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So-
that's
Thank
right.
God for
What-
Game Pass.
Yeah.
Callisto
Important
Protocol.
pass.
Yeah, that's
Callisto
right. The
December,
Dark
yep.
Pictures, Devil and Me entries coming
Yeah.
out that month. So there's plenty. And
Oh,
then of
Devil and Me,
course, as you hit December, Callisto Protocol, Marvel Midnight Suns, Need for Speed, and then what was when you talked about the Crisis Core reunion?
Crisis
That's
Core,
the next
yeah.
week.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, dude,
There's nothing
wait
coming
to
out.
play
There's
that.
nothing
It's-
coming out.
Guys,
Nothing.
it's
Nothing.
on. I mean,
The
and then,
rest of the
and then
year is-
January
is
is Fire Emblem
empty.
and Dead Space. Like
It's-
it
Yep.
never stops, dude.
February is empty. as
Thankfully,
hell.
nothing comes out in
February
February
and March.
Yeah.
Damn, I
And
nothing
forgot
on.
Fire Emblem's coming out in January. I need
Yeah,
to
dude.
beat 3
You need
houses.
to beat Three Houses quick, and it's going to be more traditional. I think Three Houses was like their big, like we want to be Persona,
Okay.
and I think this is going to kind of go back
Fire
to
Emblem Engage on January 20th, Forspoken on January 24th,
Oh,
Oh my
Forspoken!
God,
Oh my
Forspoken.
god!
and
I'm
then
gonna play
Dead
so much of
Space
that.
on the 27th.
God, Forspoken is
those
so.
are 3 big games in January. Like it's
I'm
and then,
concerned about
Basically,
Forspoken.
guys, there's never going to be time to like.
Let's just
I
keep
hope
going.
You
This
include
is
your
this is
backlog,
fun.
'cause
This
it's
is fun.
over.
Dead Island 2 on February 3rd. Hogwarts
Oh my
Legacy
God.
That's getting
Hogwarts.
delayed
on February
so
10th.
hard. Not Hogwarts, but Dead Island 2 is getting delayed. for
Like
sure.
a Dragon Ishin on February 21st.
Oh, God.
Oh!
God damn it!
I'm
Octopath
just gonna
Traveler
quit gaming. I'm just never gonna do this
2,
podcast again. That's what's gonna
Octopath
happen.
2 is on the February 24th.
Oh my
Octopath
God.
2 is in February. That's crazy.
Uh-huh.
Resident
and of
Evil
course-
4 is in March, right? Is that?
It's
was that
in
it?
March.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep, and so is Silent Hill 2 remake.
I think there's a lot of games in March, right?
There's
Or
a
is
lot of
those-
games in March.
Skull and Bones is now March, guys.
Game of the year.
Hey Tim, can I tell you? No, it's not.
Oh, you're right.
Kyle. God damn it,
They're
Kyle.
gonna delay it by a
Dude,
week.
What if
They're not
what
going to
if this
delay
is-
it. They're going to cancel it in
No,
February.
what if this
It's
is
like
the
the
game
project's
that-
canceled?
What if they just always delay it? Never fully gets canceled.
Yeah.
They're
They
just
keep
going to write
reviewing
it
games,
off
it
for
just keeps
taxes.
moving.
You know, the
Keeps
second
moving.
I hear that they're like, hey, remember all the shanties that were in Black Flags? That's actually in this game. I'm like, I'm actually back in, guys. I'm
Yeah,
all
I'm
back
back
in on
in.
that game.
Yeah.
I can
Give
listen
me-
to those shanties again while driving
This
my
game
ship.
doesn't exist. This game doesn't exist.
Give me all the shanties. Hey, before we talk about stuff we're watching and additional games we're playing, because I've got a couple of that I'm playing in addition to new games. Dan, what else are you playing? Because I know you're busy playing stuff. I don't know if it's any of the new stuff from this week.
No, I don't think I'm playing anything new. No.
Okay. What about
Straight
anything that's
stuff.
not new? What else are you playing?
Well, I finished the Quarry. I finished my Quarry stream.
Yep.
Everyone survived this time, so
Oh, wow.
Congrats.
So I got that
So you
trophy.
did
That was
won
pretty
a
fun.
few of them today?
I at least got a couple killed. I know I did.
Yeah. Well, I definitely murdered the shit out of the family. What's their faces? The Hackett's.
Oh,
Yeah.
them. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all dead, mine. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Except for the. No, I think I even killed the guy too.
No, the cop dude. I
Sheriff,
forget his
yeah.
name. Yeah,
Yeah,
sheriff.
it's a little spoilery, but yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, you make
Sure.
choices. Characters live and they die. I mean, that's literally what the game is. But,
Sure.
but yeah, so I finished that. Everyone survived, and then I just started The Evil Within 2 yesterday.
Nice.
Ooh.
Um,
Doing a lot of good
this-
haunted stuff, man. Like
Spooky.
ghost.
Yeah,
Stuff.
I've been doing a lot of spookies this month. So
Next up should be Luigi's Mansion 3 because that's an amazing game.
Wow.
The
Bring that.
Evil Within series is one that's like perpetually on my backlog. because,
Mario.
Like I really like that
Mario.
director, and I really like psychological.
Hello.
like,
Um,
horror, you know.
the first one is good. It's like
do Charlie Day now. This is Luigi.
like a lot of narrows, like kind of like the environments are really narrow, and it's just like it's very bleak and claustrophobic.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
old school Resident Evil.
Which
Yeah,
I'm
the
fine with,
second
yeah.
the second one I think is a better balance of horror and action. Like I think
Okay.
it's still definitely like
I
got some-
like the open world. I liked
What's open world, the second one,
exploring
wow.
and finding
it's like an open
loot.
town. Yeah, it's like an open
Yeah.
town. Yeah, you
Okay.
go into the buildings, and some of them have like even like some
Little
kind of like
side
not.
quest.
Yeah, exactly. And then
I'm
it
here
like,
for
keeps,
that.
like opening up as it goes on. So
Nice. And then what's up next after Evil Within 2? Do you know? For you for streaming?
well, so I had started so in the middle there too. I started Final Fantasy VII, the original one. So I'm gonna start going through that because I did Remake and I finished that. So now I'm gonna go back and do the original ones. I'm gonna do like 7 and stuff like that. Yeah, I want to try to like sort of weave in some classic stuff because I have my PlayStation 1 Mini. Completely forgot I had that. And
Oh,
let's
wow.
let's just say there's a a couple extra games on there it didn't come with. So
Why would you do?
A demo disc, Dan? Is it a demo disc?
sorcery. Yeah, it's a demo disc. So I did some sorcery, and I'm gonna use that because so this kind of like you don't really like say it when you're streaming on Twitch, but like people use emulation because it's like
Oh yeah,
Obviously.
Lawrence and Bruce are pretty transparent about it, where they're like, "Yeah, we had to get this running on yada yada,
Yeah.
so it
I
can be
think there
streamed."
are like technically rules, but it's kind of like you don't just sit there and be like, "I'm using emulation." You don't say it every 2 seconds. You know what I mean? So as
Yeah.
long as it's not like blatantly every 2 seconds
Just
being
keep
like,
your mouth shut if you're playing a Nintendo game.
Yeah.
and you're
"Yeah,
emulating.
it's true."
Yeah, really, that's actually the rule of thumb, to be honest.
Yeah, because they came down like very recently pretty hard on an emulator for Switch. I don't remember who
Okay.
it was. They like launched a lawsuit or something against
That
somebody
makes
was
sense.
So
doing
like
it.
Steam released a
That's what it was. It was a Steam.
Yeah,
game.
Steam
And they were like,
released
"No,
like
get it outta here."
a commercial that had like a Nintendo launcher on it, and Nintendo was like, "You better take that ad down. We're gonna come at you
Yeah.
so hard." Like,
That makes sense. It's Switch. It's their new machine, as opposed to like a Super Nintendo, where it's kind of like, well,
I thought it was like so obviously on purpose that they did that. Because they
Listen,
are
if it's-
that's really the competition is the Switch, and
If
they're
you
like,
need to
"Yeah,
reference
you can play all this
It's
for
a
Nintendo,
free."
great selling.
Just say what does it mean in Japanese? Like little luck from heaven or something like that? Like whatever that
Yep.
phrase was from last
We
Right.
week.
all got that right, remember?
We got that right, guys.
yeah, we
Totally.
got so. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I've been doing.
I've also been playing through some Bayonetta 2. I think all the news about the voice actress made me want to go in and play some more of that game. But
Oh, so you're not listening to the voice actress?
I'm
Oh,
muted
wait.
every time she talks. I mute it.
I'm sorry. I forgot if I mentioned this last time. Sorry, my bad. Real quick. I finished Valkyrie Elysium.
Oh, you
I don't-
didn't mention that last time. No.
Okay. Yeah. I unfortunately that's
It got
like,
better as you went.
No, swimming
Was the
in
last hour and a half really good, like Strangers in Paradise?
You really
Yeah,
taking
I
a lot for
got,
the
I got
team
really
this year.
far in my copy. Do you see it?
no.
Is it shrunk
It's
wrap?
so far. So far
And
in it.
like I said to you guys, it's like she feels like she's getting more human as it goes along, but it just kind of like ends, and it's like, oh, okay, so
Oh,
you
what the
fought.
hell?
I fight the bad guy, and then it's like I win, and then there's some stuff with Odin, and it's like, oh, cool, and then Odin's like, all right, well, we're gonna everything's gone. Do you guys care if I spoil at all? Like,
I care, man. What the?
do you
freak?
care? Do you care?
I care about
he's gonna play
story.
it.
It's just very abrupt. Like Odin just shows up at the end, and then things are kind of like, oh, all right, so sure. I don't know. It just unfortunately the demo was kind of like I like what's going on here, but like the demo was just like kind of would satiate you if you just
Yeah.
played the demo, and then you don't really need to kind of go beyond that. So
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just finish the
Kinda
demo then and
what
be like, I played it,
turned
guys.
me
I'll
I'll
on.
beat
just
it.
literally do anything else. So
I like the demo, but then when
I
they
like the
get
demo, too.
released, I watched some of the reviews, and I was watching Fighting Cowboy play it, and he was just like, So
It just feels like the
it's a
same.
game.
It's just the same. Like
This
the
is
whole
it.
the whole
Nothing's
thing kind of
changing.
yeah.
Maybe just
And-
play the demo and that's it.
Until like the Valkyrie starts kind of again absorbing some of those human elements of your summons that you're gaining. At that point, it's like, oh, okay, something's happening, but it's like way too close to the end, and it doesn't. There's no good payoff really.
Oh,
So.
bummer. I would be mad if I got to the end and there was like no payoff. So
Kind of like
Thanks
the end
for-
of
thanks for cluing us in.
Elysium,
That's
the
good.
movie. Sorry, I liked that movie.
I did
love
too.
that
What the
movie.
hell?
What's going on here?
I just thought the ending of it. People hate the ending of it. I thought it was
They
fun.
do. Remember when he typed the word allow instead of like restrict?
That whole movie was about like anti-classism. Like all it
Yeah.
did was like fulfill the
I thought it was
movie's
fine.
theme.
Yeah, but
Whatever.
Jodie Foster's accent.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's doing some kind of South American thing or
thought
South
it was fun.
African thing. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. What to
Bayonetta 2. I know Derek, you finished it, right? Jeff, did you play it through too? Did you play that one?
Bayonetta, no. The first
Bayonetta.
I put those 3 games for Derek because he mentioned them in the group.
Yeah, so Derek finished it. I am I forget how many missions in. I'm a handful of missions into it. It's so good, man. It's just so fun.
I had my
But,
first big boss fight in the first Bayonetta, and I
Oh,
was
okay.
like, "Holy crap! This is how all of them are." Then
Yeah, that's
I
the
need to
first
beat
one.
this. Yeah, that was
the first one.
amazing.
And the thing is like the second one, the bosses are so much bigger than the ones from the first one. Like it
Wow.
just, I can't even imagine what the third one's gonna be like. Like it's
Wow.
just,
So, I recommend if you like
I'm
catching up
very
on
excited
lore.
for 3.
I watched, and I'll watch the second one too once I finish it, just for some
I'll need to catch
explanation.
up.
But I watched this video called "The Lore of Bayonetta." It's a little longer. It's like 40 minutes long. But this lady, the channel's called Tiptoe the Tank, but she does an excellent job of summarizing the story of the first one, and kind of goes through the connections and Bayonetta's history and why she remembers some things and not others, and who other characters are. And I was just like, dude, this is actually pretty creative lore they've got going on with all the cheesy
Yeah, it's
one-liners and
actually
like
got
posing.
a
Like
good story.
it's really interesting. So I'm liking the second one so far for that as well. Derek, how'd you think when it all wrapped up, when the second one was finished? What were your thoughts?
Oh, I think the second one's like a 9.0 and above. It can't be below it, and anybody who scored it below it they're a terrible person.
did anybody? I don't know if anybody did.
I don't know. I didn't look, but I just think it was from beginning to end, and I absolutely love that it was short. Like I beat it in 2
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
From beginning to end, it captivated my attention. I didn't want to put it down, and I just enjoyed it the entire time. The first one I struggled with. It is more dated. It's still a good game.
It is
I
more
didn't knock
dated,
it
yeah.
or anything, but I knew it was dated. And I just wasn't that into the lore and anything in the beginning. And then I watched that video where the guy explained in detail 1 and 2. And I was like, okay, now I can play the game knowing who these characters are, knowing what their motivations are. And it actually helped me understand it more. And then I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the second one to me I would say it's in that upper echelon of like special games. It really is, and
It is.
made me go, okay, I can't wait for 3 to come out. Like,
Yep.
I had interest. That's why I played 1 and 2, but I wasn't ever like, I'm definitely buying 3 on day 1. Like,
You're slowly
3
becoming
became-
a character action game, bro. You're slowly.
I will
becoming
say,
one.
it looks like Polygon gave Bayonetta 2 a 75 because of the blatant
No,
over-sexualization.
Polygon stuff. We don't mention them, you know.
But
what were they mostly like 9s and above though?
yeah,
I was gonna say that game had
it
like
has like a
10s,
it has like
so.
a 91, I think.
Yeah,
or
I saw a lot of
92.
10s. I remember there being lots of 10s. Like I think Easy Allies gave it, or at that time, Game Trailers gave it a 10. You know, I think
Yeah.
IGN gave it high.
it's a really good game.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
I did finish Asterigos because I wanted to beat it before we got
All
this
this,
wave of
yeah.
games. So I was on vacation this week, and so the first night I was on vacation, I stayed up literally till 6 a.m. to beat this game. It's a pretty long game because I actually just kind of started mainlining everything. But it's really, 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 really good. Like, I really like this game. And as I said in the chat, to me, the game I could compare it to the most, I think people compare it to Immortals because of the character and the setting.
The design, the art design is similar.
Yes, but the actual game plays more like, it feels to me like Kenya, whatever you want to call it.
It's just Kana, man. Kana.
Kena, don't care.
Can I finish?
Yes, but I really like this game. Like I felt like I was playing like an old school like Star Fox Adventures game, where every area you were learning new special abilities that you would incorporate in that area. I like the leveling up. It's light RPG. It's not like a heavy dose. It's not confusing at all. A lot of fun characters, great world. Yeah, to me, it's an 8. It's a really good game, and I said it in our chat. I played the demo from beginning to end because my interest level was very high for this game. And after I played the demo, I was like, I'm not buying this. So I made the decision not to buy it. And then I started watching Fighting Cowboy play it, and he was into it, and I was like, this looks good. And the demo was different than the game, meaning like, yes, the beginning area is in the game, but at the end of the demo, you fight like this gladiator type dude, and that boss fight was absolutely terrible. It was just not a good experience in the demo. I beat him, but I didn't like it at all. Well, in the game, you fight him, but you fight him for like 2 seconds because he just one-shots you, and then it goes to the story. You're supposed to lose to him. So he was intentionally extremely difficult in the demo. Yeah. So then that kind of changed my opinion. And then anyway, so I played through the entire game. And here's one of the things I want to say that I thought was really good if people are interested in playing this. Most, I'm not going to say all, of the boss fights are really, really good. Very, very interesting. They're well done. They're very different from each other. It's not just go in, level up because it's a Souls game and beat them down. Like, there's different things you have to pay attention to and different things you have to do that they incorporate the world or special abilities and things like that. That I thought as I'm playing, I was like, this is very interesting. This is like, they really thought this through. They did a lot of work on this game. It didn't feel like it was just like, let's create a cool character and a cool world and then just slap something together. It's almost like they were like, we want to create a AAA experience, yet the price tag was $35 if you paid full price.
Yep.
So it was, to me, it was underpriced, in my opinion. It was underpriced.
They could have charged full price. A lot of the visuals, there are moments like, and the technical elements of the visuals that made me think looks pretty last gen.
Yeah.
That's
it's
okay.
The
art design still works well, and some of the enemy design's creative. I only have faced off 2 bosses in it. I still think it's a lot of fun. I really love using the daggers combined with the magic because I've leveled up
straight on the deck too.
Level up with magic to do some long distance shooting, which makes it way better too, because I can do that and then just start swinging with daggers and dodging through. So I'm with you, man. I dig it, and I'll keep playing that one too.
It's definitely worth.
And then someone finished Saints Row. Was that you too, Derek? You finished Saints Row?
Yeah, Saints Row. I was beating a lot of games. Yeah, Saints Row was
big games too.
Saints Row was a game. No, I liked it. It did start working my nerves towards the end. But
yeah, it definitely felt more broken as it went on. Towards the end, I was like, "Whoa, boy!"
Yeah, there was
nothing that like ever like outside of like some like kind of hard crashes and a couple things, but like nothing that was like stopped like your progress in the game or anything. Not for me, at least.
But I enjoyed it, and part of I think some of the frustration. Again, I think context matters. I was trying to beat the game in one day. I mean, I had already started playing it, obviously. But like finish it from where I was all the way and beat it because the next day I was going to trade it in to start pre-ordering these new releases. So I was like, if something wasn't working the way I wanted to work right away, it was immediate like, fuck yeah, I'm pissed. Like, this game is making me mad. So I probably would have enjoyed it a little bit more if I wasn't like stressing to finish it.
Yeah, when you're rushing to finish it, you're going to feel frustrated with almost any game.
But overall, it's a good experience. I'm like I've said, I kind of get the hate for certain things. Like, there are a lot of people yelling about the characters. My opinion is, well, I didn't love the gang particularly. I didn't hate them. which a lot of people would probably think with my personality, I absolutely hate all the
Yeah, that's
crap.
like extremely high praise coming from you.
Yeah.
So.
That's high
But
praise.
I thought they were great for my character, so maybe I'm just a narcissist. I thought my character was hilarious in how he interacted with them and how stupid he was and how he set himself up for a lot of jokes that made it more interesting, like that group of characters. So yeah, I thought it was a solid game.
Yeah.
It's not amazing. It needs patches. It needs work, and I do think they will support it.
Yeah. There's
and
supposed
so
to be a big patch next month.
Yeah, and which they've ceased production on like future DLC to like make sure it's running a little better. Which like that's kind of like Cyberpunk did that. It's kind of a Cyberpunk kind of situation.
Release it the way they did.
And it's selling well enough where they're probably going to make their money back easily. And I think who is it, Embracer who Embracer says that they are fully committed to like Saints Row and stuff like that. So it's like even
they own everything
with all the noise and everything like that, there's still a lot of positive like kind of vibes coming from the studio itself. So that's nice.
Good. Yeah, I enjoy my time. I think it's worth a playthrough if you're at all interested. If you're not, it's not going to sell you on you got to play this.
I think I'm going to wait for the first patch and then try it out again and see.
I'm happy to jump in with you
about
just
the way it looks and stuff. Oh, cool. I'll throw that out.
So if you just check the patch and stuff like that, I would love to check it out as well. So
I need to find like a PC gamer to play these co-op games with. Like I would like to play Gotham Knights with like a friend on PC because I think that would be a fun game to co-op. That's the only thing that sucks.
A lot of the fun is definitely coming from co-op for me with Gotham Knights, which might make me a little more.
Yeah, I'm surprised because that was definitely a low point on a lot of the reviews that I read and watched. Was like, oh, it doesn't really work right most of the time. Blah blah blah. Like
in the 2 hours we played, Jeff dropped one time and came immediately back in, and we never had any other problems.
Right.
So
that would all be pre-launch though. I would imagine that would have some. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
They didn't.
I think checking out games pre-launch that are online is pretty problematic.
There was also a glitch with a what do they call it? Pre-planned whatever crime mission that Kyle and I did, where like he couldn't see it progressing, but I could, or something.
Yeah, like and no matter
that's
what,
a really small glitch. And
then when the mission completed, we both got. It didn't glitch out where I didn't get like progress for it. So it's like, there's some like technical stuff that's going on there, but like.
Very minor.
Nothing that like deserves to get a 4.
Yeah,
so it's not cross-platform at all. You have to have it on the same machine.
I didn't look into that either.
I can load, but I doubt it. I would imagine with the launch and everything they got going on, it's probably not cross-platform.
I mean, did they make you attach it to any kind of account when you guys played it?
I don't remember.
It just logged in.
Maybe you auto logged into a WB account that I'm wasn't aware of it, but I don't know.
Yeah, it just says logged in as blah blah blah, but I think it's.
That's usually how crossplay would work, right? Is you have some kind of friend list on your additional.
I know Call of Duty's cross. I thought I was excited to see that because I have a lot of like Xbox players who are like, we got to play this game. I'm like, can we? And then the second I logged in, it's like, here's your console ID or whatever. I'm like, cool.
No, you got to play this game on the same platform. There is no.
I figured so.
All right,
that's what I thought.
We're not there yet. Maybe in like 5 or 6 years, I think all games will probably be cross-platform. I think it'll be really.
Yeah, I think it's getting easier and easier to do it. Yeah.
Well,
do we want to end on African American Adam?
That was my plan, but I didn't want to cut anybody off. If there's anything else that they're playing,
I don't have anything, but please, by all means, anybody else.
Is there any other games that we're missing that you wanted to cover?
I don't think so.
So
mostly new stuff lately.
So the Final Fantasy 16 trailer, that was really.
Yeah,
we're gonna circle back to that. Is that what we're doing?
Dan's not playing anything new this week because he kept watching that over and over again.
Yeah. And crying, just crying.
Just openly weeping.
I canceled it.
Oh, what happened?
Mainly because I actually was interested, but I honestly wanted to stay home and play video games. I was like, I don't want to go.
I get that. I did that today. I was supposed to see a movie, some foreign movie. It's Oscar bait, whatever. It's not up y'all's alley. I was supposed to see that movie this morning, and I was like, no, I need to get more Plague Tale in. I need to get more Gotham Knights. So I bailed on it.
Hey, there's a movie that's coming out with Colin Farrell and what's his name?
Yes, Brendan Gleeson. Yeah.
That movie looks great.
Banshees of Inisherin.
Banshees.
Like
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
That's
by
the same
directors.
It's by the same guy that did
that one looks real good.
The same guy that
Three
did
Billboards.
And In Bruges.
Right.
Seven
Just-
Psychopaths. He's such a good
all
freaking
knockout
filmmaker.
movies to me. I
Yeah.
think they're all.
And this one looks really
Excellent
funny
movies.
too. Like I've seen several trailers, and it's like about
And it
how
has
Brendan-
Barry
Brendan-
Keoghan.
yeah, Barry Keoghan or whatever.
How do we say his name?
So like
Good actors.
Brendan Gleeson cuts off Colin Farrell's character from being friends. He's just like done with him, and the whole time Colin Farrell's just being needy. Like that's the premise of the movie. Is like him going, "Well, why'd you cut me off then?" Like he's just
Yeah.
Irish and stuff. So like,
I love their dynamic, and I'm
yeah,
not.
they're so
I'm not
funny,
the,
dude.
like I like Colin Farrell, but I'm never like, oh, he's in this movie, great. You know, I
Yeah.
love him in all of this director's.
I love
movies.
them as
I think
Penguin,
in
too.
Bruges, he's
I was gonna
absolutely
say
excellent in.
Penguin. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's excellent as the Penguin, but but for whatever reason, his chemistry with Gleason is
Great.
always awesome.
Next
so.
level. Yeah, they're so good
They're,
together.
they're a very
so
odd
I was
couple
very
of
excited to see
actor
him in
buddies.
this
You know what I
movie.
mean? They're kind of an
Yeah.
odd couple because they're different generations.
very
Yeah,
odd
Brendan,
very odd
Brendan,
couple.
Brendan
it.
host SNL just recently, and Colin appeared, so they could just do
I
some
love it.
banter.
They're
It
like-
was hilarious.
I like to imagine they're best buddies in real life.
Yeah, I
even if
know. I mean, Ireland's a small place. Maybe they hang out all the time. Who
They
knows?
might. They might.
Okay,
So tell me about Black Adam. Of course,
Black
this is
Adam, yeah.
the new big superhero movie. This one's out of WB. Kind of has the same type
DC, yep.
of. Didn't WB produce this? Wasn't this a WB movie?
Yeah, WB owns
Okay.
DC stuff. So, but yeah, it's a DC EU movie.
Right. And so, but that's yet another DC hero that's got a big lightning bolt in his chest. So tell me about it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's what it is. And he does say Shazam at least 6 times in the movie.
Oh,
God
sweet.
damn it.
yeah.
God damn it.
But what's funny about that, I was telling Kyle
Language.
is I was
We
telling,
don't cuss.
yeah, don't fucking cuss,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Right.
So what's
Really?
interesting, the most interesting about it is that they say Shazam a bunch, but not one character in the movie goes, "Did you know there's a guy in San Francisco that does that too?" or whatever. Wherever the hell Shazam is, it's just interesting.
Chicago, I
Um,
think.
Wherever he is.
Yeah.
Chicago.
I know he's more of a neighborhood superhero, so maybe he's like the Spider-Man of their world, I guess.
Does he
Um,
ever say it's Adaming time or?
No, but there is a moment at the end of the movie, and I don't give a shit if this is a spoiler, but there's a moment at the end of the movie where they do that really, really cliched superhero movie, origin movie thing where they're like, we can't really call you that name anymore. It's a little old fashioned. What are we going to call you? And then it ends the movie with Black Adam. And I'm like, God damn it. I hate this movie now. It made me so mad. Like I
They
just
do
hate
that
little-
seriously, not even tongue in cheek.
No, they did it seriously. They did it dead serious.
That's
the-
probably like Dwayne Johnson. Like, let's be honest. Like,
Yeah.
I love that guy. He's pretty cheesy though.
very,
Like,
very
yeah,
self-serious. Very,
yes.
yeah, just as a person. Where he's like, don't beat me up on camera. He thinks very highly of himself for sure.
I remember watching his show where he is like a NFL agent or something. At least to watch
Yeah,
a little bit of it.
Ballers. I had to drop off of that show. I was like, this
But
is-
like, there's a lot of
not
moments. I'm like, I
entertaining.
feel like The Rock made them do that part. Like, it just felt
Yeah.
like very cheesy, like a line he really wanted to say or
I
something.
feel you there.
Anyway,
Well, Kyle's muted. You're muted, buddy.
I feel like The Rock is always trying to sell something when I see him.
dude,
yeah.
Tequila,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
Tequila or
I'm
an energy
straight up
drink or
shocked he
his
wasn't, like-
lifestyle or it's just like he's always trying to
Or
sell something.
Ryan Reynolds the same way. He's
Yeah, but
literally-
Ryan
Yeah,
Reynolds
he
has
is.
like a more I feel like like he's like aware that he's being fake to sell wares, whereas The Rock
Sure.
is unaware that he's being fake to sell.
Well, he'll
wares.
even
Does that make
address it.
sense,
He'll
you
be
know?
like,
Yeah,
"I'm doing this
makes
just
total
to
sense.
sell this," and he'll just address it
Yeah.
directly.
I'm actually
yeah,
surprised.
there's something likable about how Ryan
know.
Reynolds does it, but for The Rock, I'm just like,
It's probably because he's
Yeah.
white.
yeah, dude.
I'm actually surprised there wasn't a scene in Black Adam where, because Black Adam is the story is this guy, The Rock's character, Teth Adam, I think is his name in the comics or whatever, in the movie. But he awakens after like thousands of years of sleep or whatever. Some hot girl wakes him up, and naturally,
Sweet.
and I'm just surprised there wasn't a scene of him discovering the modern world and him drinking tequila, going, "What's the name of this? Tramana? Oh, that's great."
Tramana.
Because that's The Rock's tequila. I'm just surprised there wasn't like an ad break anywhere in the movie. But yeah, it was actually, I went in with super low expectations, and I think that helped. I think it really did, because I came away actually enjoying my time with it. I mean, I gave it a higher rating than Thor: Love and Thunder, and that should say something.
Okay,
Yeah.
but dude, I talk about this all the time. Your expectations going into a game, movie, or show
Yeah.
make
Sure.
all the difference. Like, your expectations for Thor: Love and Thunder, I'm guessing, were higher, and it didn't quite meet your expectations.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And your expectations for this were lower, and it was like, hey, so I
yeah,
don't-
yeah, exactly.
who knows, man? Like, at work,
it's
at least
just-
that's the case for me.
You kind of have to just accept the movie for what it is. It's not. it's like a macho thing, like, you know, it's definitely one of those what's the movie that from this year that just had this, The Gray Man, maybe? Might have been The Gray Man. Where it was like the action and the comedy felt very 90s and stuff. This is like a superhero movie with 90s action movie quips and lots of kills. Like they think it's really cool in this movie to kill people.
I don't hate that.
It's like a main theme of the movie is sometimes it's cool to have heroes that kill. Like they emphasize it a lot.
I think that's a really cool message.
Why is it not rated R?
Right. Exactly.
Apparently, the first few passes at getting it rated were R.
I read that.
They had to edit it down to make it PG-13.
I mean, he puts a grenade in a dude's mouth in this in like slow motion. He has like a Quicksilver scene basically where he's just going around and doing really quick stuff and zapping people with lightning. He moves a grenade into somebody's mouth. I feel like the R-rated cut kept it there and he blew up, but this version he takes it out after the slow-mo cuts. And he's like, what's this?
Does he do any wrestling moves in this movie?
No, and that is really a bummer.
He doesn't do anything?
People's elbow.
People's elbow.
That one's a little too obvious, but like no, like he usually works in the rock bottom.
The rock bottom's in almost all of his.
There was none of that. There was none of that.
Does he people eyebrow at all? Does he eyebrow anybody?
Yeah, does he eyebrow?
I actually
he had to have.
I know.
What's the point then?
I actually
not even like a subtle one.
This movie plays to his strengths of being like a Jason Statham type, which I know they did a movie together, but they both have the same range. You know what I mean? Like they're very stoic and self-serious in their roles, and I think that actually played really well in this when there were funny moments. When he's interacting with the Justice Society, who have this moral code of not killing. By the way, they're great. The Justice Society. I
love the Justice Society. Yeah, that's fun.
Hawkman is fun. Dr. Fate is amazing. He's just such a
Brosnan,
great
dude. Like,
yeah. Dr. Fate's a fun character, man.
Yeah.
And Hawkman
and I know he's
or
just
Hawkeye,
Dr.
whatever. Yeah,
cool. Hawkman is like the Tony Stark who's got like all the money and recruiting all the people. But their interplay with him and Black Adam not understanding sarcasm and stuff. It's nothing you haven't seen before, but it is done, I think,
but it works
pretty well. Yeah, it works for this movie, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. There's some messy parts in the movie, sure, but I mean, it's entertaining. And
it sounds like something that when I see it on streaming, I'll watch it. Like it's not something I'm gonna skip. It's something I'll watch. I'm just not gonna like rush.
And then there is a mid-credit scene that's pretty jaw-dropping, but everybody, even in The Rock, has spoiled that by this point. So
yeah, it's totally leaked. So
damn it,
there
Rock.
are other cameos in the movie that made me go, oh, that's cool. Like, so I mean, there's
Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum shows
Channing
up.
Tatum, guys, you heard it here first.
God damn it!
We can't stop him.
He's sneaking onto every set somehow. He has found the back door to every set.
He's in that screenshot behind Tim right now. You don't even know it.
He's in there.
Right. Actually, you know the guy behind the mask of Red Hood, behind Jeff? Yeah.
He's Channing all over them Tatums. Yep.
Yeah. You see that small boy?
The little boy
peeking
out from behind his
Derek.
sister? Yeah. That's Channing Tatum right there.
They de-aged him. They use that Disney de-age technology.
I'm not Shut up, bro.
Shut up.
I want the rats.
Right.
To eat,
By the way,
bro.
have you guys looked up the voice actors for those roles? Because it's like a legit teenager and a legit child. Like it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I admire that.
I'm mad you guys are making fun of it. I freaking love those kids.
I haven't played it. I don't know.
Can I jump on the bed? No, you can die.
Derek doesn't like anyone that expresses emotion or happiness or anything.
Happiness.
What is that? Happiness.
What is
It's
that?
my kryptonite.
Well, I
think side quest for life. Happiness.
Yes.
I think that wraps us up for this week. There's so much stuff that I'm going to be playing and watching, continuing to do so over this weekend, and then into next week. There's maybe not the same. Like, there's not going to be 5 huge games that are hitting next week, especially since Call of Duty's campaign came out early. But there's still going to be more impressions for us to have. Hopefully, some of us will have wrapped up some of these games by then, and so we'll have more to share then. And of course, the Resident Evil DLC and third-person mode, and there's more that's happening this week too. So, hey, if you haven't yet, make sure you go. If you like watching streaming, especially, go check out the Dapper Chocobo and check out Dan's content he's making over there, and make sure that you're liking and subscribing to us on YouTube. I think that's all the things. I think we're good. Yeah,
we're done.
Stuff.
We're
Those
good.
are the
all right.
things.
Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for
We're done.
listening. We're out. We're done. I'm turning this off right now.
You're done.
Stop.
Everybody,
Stop.
fuck off.
I'm very turned off.
Okay, language. Enough.
I'm
guys.
very flaccid right
Enough.
now.